Just a day out from camp, and the Bills finally get involved in the uniform announcements. The 90s red helmet is going to make its return in the final regular season game at the current Highmark Stadium, Week 18 against the Jets. The Bills will also be bringing back the standing Buffalo helmet twice this season, along with those throwback jerseys Week 5 at Atlanta. They'll also be wearing their throwbacks, and Week 11 at home against Tampa Bay. Third-round rookie Landon Jackson has been activated off of PUP, so he will not be missing any time with camp starting tomorrow, among other moves. The Bills did release punter Jake Camarada. Brad Robbins now appears to be the team's starting punter heading into camp. And Tom Pelissero of NFL Network reported earlier today that running back James Cook will report to camp, though no word on if this will be a hold-in situation. Coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Figo Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. And Driven by your Upstate Honda dealers for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Bengals edge rusher Trey Hendrickson not reporting to camp as he continues to look for a new contract. And Saints safety Tyrann Mathieu announced his retirement today after 12 seasons in the NFL. While in baseball, the Blue Jays host the Yankees, while the Mets had the Angels in town, and then the Bisons there on the road versus Columbus. All those games are starting just after 7 o'clock, and you can listen to the Bisons over on our sister station, The Bet 1520. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I got a speeding ticket in the mail yesterday.
In the mail?
Yeah. I think I'm going to just ignore it.
It's Mike Schopp
Where was this?
Spain.
and the Bulldog.
I think if I just lay low, I think I'll get away with it.
Not mention it on the air?
Definitely don't want to talk about it on the air.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog
I like the sound of this more and more as we go. I'm an outlaw.
on WGR Sports Radio 550.
I figured you'd have a red hat on today. Red helmets.
Why would I? Oh.
I thought maybe you would have celebrated by wearing a red hat.
I'm not inclined to wear red hats.
Not a helmet. I doubt you have a Bills helmet.
No, I don't.
Do people have helmets?
Yeah.
Full-sized?
Sure.
Why?
Because
This is a thing you...
Yeah, maybe you're collecting autographs on it. Maybe you just... If I had a room with sports stuff in it, which I do not have, I think I would have a helmet. Like if I were a person who had a room that was like that, signed jerseys, memorabilia, sort of like you.
Yeah, I have that.
I mean, you've got mini helmets.
I do have mini helmets.
I think I would go, a big full-size Bills helmet.
Would it be red?
I don't know. I don't have a strong preference one way or the other. I'm the least interesting person to ask about the helmet stuff.
Oh, no.
I know, right? What a bad job! What a bad person to be in this job. Yeah, call somebody else. I don't know. I'm happy that they're gonna do it. I mean, it seems like some corner of the world here, Bills fandom, has been clamoring for it for some time. It maybe reached its peak when Allen wore some red helmet at the practice, the big open practice they have at the stadium a few years ago.
He wears a blue helmet to that.
I saw him in a blue, but I think before that he wore a red one with like different stripes on it than we'd ever seen. And everybody thought, oh, is that a new helmet? And he was just goofing around. I don't know. Anyway, so cool. I like the current helmet. Fine. My favorite helmet. You know what? I undersold. I do have helmet takes.
Let's go.
My favorite helmet is the white one with the red standing buffalo.
Week 5. Week 6.
Still, it's fine that they don't wear it all the time, but I'm really glad. I'm more excited about that they're going to wear that at Atlanta on Monday Night Football, with Atlanta wearing, I think, black jerseys with red helmets.
Red helmets for sure.
Yeah.
They get to go first.
Yeah, so I'm excited about, and then they're wearing them at home against Tampa. With the throwback uniforms, the white, all white. That's my favorite look.
But is there a stripe?
And when they throw on the helmet,
yes.
I can't remember.
The throwback helmets the Bills have worn in recent years has stripes on it. which
they didn't have stripes back in
the 60s,
in the 70s or whatever. When I first saw the standing, like OJ didn't have stripes.
I think that's right. Until they changed the logo.
Oh,
I think that's right. I guess I'm not positive of that, but I think the original. Well, it's not their first helmet. Their first helmet was silver with numbers on it.
Right.
But I think the 60s, the AFL Bills helmet did not have stripes.
Stripeless. Yeah, I guess I never noticed that. So
that would be better.
I suppose. I just like the way that red buffalo looks on the white backdrop. Whether there's a stripe or not is not that important to me. I understand if you have a strong preference one way or the other on that. That's my favorite look of theirs of all time.
I don't have
white uniform, all white helmet, stripe or no stripe. I don't really care. Red standing buffalo, like that is peak Bills uniform for me.
It was funny. This morning I listened to Jeremy and Joe talk about the helmets for a while, and Joe was like 9 o'clock. Where is the new helmet? What are they doing? What about the rivalry series? When is this happening? He was like really edge of his seat about it. And now here comes his dad, you and me, to come along with our own fashion takes. This is probably dumb. I don't have a full-size Bills helmet. I have one, well, I do have a Seattle helmet from when I was a kid that's like closer to full-size than the minis. Then I would have worn it. Like in the early 80s, I would have worn this Seattle helmet, and I still have it. But the only real full-size helmet that I own is a Baylor helmet with Robert Griffin having signed it. Like, I have that.
What are you going to do with that? Sorry.
What?
What are you going to do with that?
I have it in a case. Okay. I don't put it on, but I have it. Right. And I don't know what plan. I don't have any
why
plans.
Would anyone have a full-size helmet? Like you have one.
I know. I have one. I also had just as a collectible, I had an Elway Broncos. Like the darker blue one for a while, but I sold that.
Good.
I was going to say, though, when it comes to the good that I got rid of it.
Yeah, it's a horrible helmet. That second Broncos, I don't like that look at all.
It's not great, but it's a great signature.
Okay.
Elway.
Still.
One of those.
Good for you.
One of those where you can actually read the name. You know, every signature you should be able to figure out who it is, not like all the Sabres of the last 20 years. Where it's thanks. Basically, that's like vandalism. It's like graffiti on a helmet. When we won at an auction an autograph stick by Matthias Samuelsson, and it would have had to take him less than 1 second to sign his name.
Yeah.
And I feel like he ruined it. Because I'd rather have it be blank than have it be signed by Matthias Samuelsson, where just like a quick scribble, like he's checking a box or something.
You'd rather have to tell people this is Matthias Samuelsson.
It's awful.
Stick.
It's awful. That's like every hockey signature I see now, autograph I see now is like that.
Because you have to tell people that anyway, even though it's signed, right? Or there's names probably on it. Right?
No, you would have to.
Yeah.
Middlestat too. I have two. My daughter has these sticks. You have to tell that. You have to tell. I mean, it never comes up, right? They're not on display or anything like this. But if it were to, you'd have to explain to them or tell them who had signed them, because there's no way to tell.
They don't have the name and number on.
It's not even legible.
No, not the signing. I'm talking about like the.
Not in this case.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I'm sure those exist, but not in this case. Okay. If I had a full-size Bills helmet and I would want to display it, which why have it if you wouldn't want to display it? I think red versus white would depend on the color of the wall.
Yeah. Sure.
You know?
Yeah,
like,
aesthetically what the room looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd want it to pop. So if the wall is like a color, I'd want the white helmet, and if it's white or off-white, I'd want the red one. How's that for a breakdown?
I mean, there's a take.
It's a power color.
The red?
The red is a power color. The Bills have not had trouble winning, but I feel like when you move to red, that should help you. It's more of an aggressive, it's the aggressive color, right? So I think, things are looking up. I looked up their record against the Chiefs all time wearing red helmets.
Oh, they probably own the Chiefs.
I wish it were something like that, but it's basically they won at the same rate that they've won all time with against Kansas City. Would it surprise anyone to know that the Bills have a winning record all time against Kansas City? 30, 26, and 1. It's close. when you think of the Bills play, I mean, now you think of them playing the Chiefs, it's heartbreak. It's awful. It's playoff losses that are like devastating losses.
But the regular season's been pretty good.
Regular season's been good, but it means nothing. It's meant nothing. And the 90s, you had a couple of kind of famous losses to them, but it was the opposite. In the playoffs, the Bills beat them with DeBerg and then with Montana. So 30-26-1 versus Kansas City all time, 9-7 with the Red Helmets. 1984 to 2010. There were some changes to the stripes and the colors when they went to the Bledsoe years. The blue was a different shade, like that. Do you remember in 1984 having an opinion about the move to red helmets? I was 12, and I do not remember how I felt about it. I probably cared. Maybe I found it was interesting. The problem was the Bills were so bad, 84 and 85, that I don't know. I don't remember thinking about the helmets at all, like that it was a meaningful thing.
I don't either. Other than, 84 is right on the edge. They're terrible, or about to be terrible. I don't remember what the record was in 84, but I know. 84 and 85. That's right. Yeah, 86 Kelly's here. So yeah, those 2 years. I'm already sort of drifting away from my fandom by the mid 80s, late 80s. I'm watching but barely paying attention. I'm just into different stuff. So I'm not at the height of my fandom. So if anything, I probably defended it because if the story goes that they changed it to try to help Joe Ferguson, my dad probably hated it because he was always very hard on Fergie. And I always defended him. And so my dad was a big Gary Morangi guy. And so I was in a position as a teenager by that point to sort of want to push back on that against him. But that would be the only reason I would have even paid much attention to it.
Is your dad still a big Gary Morangi guy?
I don't know. He might want to. I've been saying that for so many years on the radio, how he was hard on Fergie, and so Fergie was one of my first favorites, and he loved Morangi, that he might like a chance to rebut all of this, because I might be overstating it, but I just remember him always wanting Morangi to come in, because he didn't like Fergie would hang his head after he threw an interception and walk to the sidelines. He didn't like how he unbuckled his chin strap or something.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
And so he'd be like, we'd be in the living room watching, and he'd be, it could be the lead up to one of these moments where he would get mad enough to start swearing, and my mother would banish him to the basement to listen to the radio and leave me alone in the living room watching the game on TV.
And he would go?
Yeah, he would go. That would happen.
Wow.
That's one of those things that might be only happened once, that in my head happened a dozen times. But I remember it happening. I remember him going down there and then like him just working at his workbench and me peeking down the basement stairs like, you all right down there? All right, cool, whatever.
The 84 Bills. I just imagine your father, whenever Allen fumbles or something, like, oh, Morangi would not have fumbled on that play.
Right.
That guy. Right. That guy would have come through.
I have news for you about these white helmets from OJ. Like, I've got a Sports Illustrated cover from OJ. I think this is OJ's rookie year when he's wearing number 36.
Yeah.
And there's a stripe on the white helmet.
I'm hearing that. People are telling me that.
Yeah. So I should have said more strongly. I don't remember them ever not having a stripe, but there's my proof. They had a stripe in back, at least his rookie year anyway.
They got there.
Yeah.
But when they were winning AFL titles, I believe they did have a stripe on the helmet. So I was wrong about that. Well, different is good. I think we had this with the Sabres. People care so much about what these teams wear. It's a little bit funny, I think. But you want to go back to when you were a kid, and that's what this does. The black Sabres jerseys, it would have been, it's a house divided. It depends on your age. I think there was room for somebody that went back to the eras before the black Sabres jersey to like sort of find it interesting if they wanted to do that. But if you were getting into the Sabres as a kid for the first time when they wore that, you'd want that. And I think that's what this is. But even though like the Bills Super Bowl teams I'm in high school and college. Like, it was just pretty much perfect. But when I think of them like you have that memory, when I think of the Bills going to the red helmets, they were kind of a joke. Like, even the reason for doing it was funny because the quarterback can't see.
Right.
Maybe this is the key to actually one time intercepting Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. Because for once, he's going against a team that's also wearing a red helmet. Like, that, he's never thrown a single pick in the playoffs against the Bills in 4 games. So maybe this will work if the Bills ever do that. But 84 and 85, oh my God. I mean, I'm not even the one to really tell you about this. I went to a couple of games those years. Nobody went.
Right.
20,000 people. There would have been possibly Sabres crowds that outdrew Bills games in those years.
Pretty close. Yep.
And I went to a Denver game. There's Denver again with young Elway. I think it might have been 37-7, and it's probably cold and miserable. And like, oh, this is really the Bills?
I want to choose to do this.
This is just really upsetting. It wasn't until Kelly. And then in 86, Kelly changed that. You didn't get to watch the home games on TV in those years, and you were probably happy about it. I don't know. I mean, here and there, early 80s, they were good, and there'd be a couple of home games on, and that's white helmets. But anyway, fine with this.
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, you're entitled, in my opinion anyway, to be as cynical as you want about it. Of course, they're just trying to sell us stuff. Of course, they're trying to, I think it's more offensive when the team isn't good and they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's the only thing they've got is their history and your memories of it and why you fell in love with it in the first place. So they're going to try to trip those wires because they can't, they can't bring you back with a quality product. And that's very much what the Sabres have been here over all these years, including bringing back the black uniform with the Goat Lord logo on it. But the Bills are good and fine. You want to get fans of a certain age back in touch with something that made them love this in the first place. And by the way, you're closing your stadium down at the end of the year, and that's when you're going to wear these helmets. I am not here to object to that at all. Yes, they're going to sell a bunch of stuff, and you're going to buy it, and you're going to love it. That's the way it goes. Though I have no objection at all to teams trying to tap into that. It's something they're smart to tap into. Those memories are what keep you going. I thought of that when you were nice enough. Well, I don't think you arranged for Danny Garrett, but he eventually wanted to come in and be a part of that birthday thing a few weeks ago. And like I said, I think while we're talking to him or after that, like, this is how they get you. I love Danny Garrett, so I'm going to love the Sabres until I'm dead because I love Danny Garrett. And what did he wear? You're wearing the stuff he wore? Great, I'm in. Like, that's not complicated, and it might feel manipulative, but whatever. I mean, we choose to embrace it. Again, you want to push back against it, you're entitled, but I think it's fantastic.
That seems like a lot of energy to waste on one game. I like how I never would have expected to. I'm sure when I was younger, I was much different. But I like how teams get creative with uniforms now. Like, the Bills will wear 3 different helmets this year because of the throwbacks and then this thing.
No, it'll be 4 because they're going to have the Rivalry series thing, which is a whole other uniform kit entirely.
Which is silver or something, maybe a little bit.
We think. We don't know, but what's been leaked
4.
is, there's going to be 4 different uniforms.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think. And I never would have expected to think that. Wear your clothes.
Right.
Be the Yankees. Wear what you wear. But that seems very old-fashioned. All right, I'll just ask it anyway. Would Aaron Glenn put this Bills red helmet business like on the bulletin board with the Jets? Like, sort of we're an exhibition game, week 18 at Buffalo. We're not really. Probably not. I feel like already it's not like that.
I mean, it may be a part of. I don't know his style really, but he's a football coach, so you're going to look for any edge you can find. The fact that it's the last game Like, whatever the Jets' record is, I'm sure if they're terrible, like most people expect them to be, and have like 4 wins coming in, and the Bills, I don't know, maybe the Bills need the game. Who knows? There's a lot of, I'm just sad the backups are going to be wearing them. I don't know, 2 years ago, they needed to win Week 18 to make the playoffs when the day began. So I'm not assuming, and I don't think they should assume anything. So it's fitting. Last game, fine. If I'm the Jets, I want to spoil the party regardless. Red helmets, white helmets, blue helmets. Wrecking that for them should be a part of the pregame speech. And so if he wants to get to, like, they're breaking out these old helmets as a part of that, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's a football coach.
Yeah, I don't think it would probably go that far because this kind of thing in sports now happens all the time where you're just sort of sampling new looks. But there's a little bit of Week 18, let's have a party to it, I think. The Bills have had so much success. Some of these Week 18 games, like last year, meant nothing. But even for just like 2 versus 3 seeds and different things, the game with Nyheim Hines running back 2 kickoff returns post-Hamlin, that was important, wasn't it? That was a game where Allen plays and...
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the scenario was there.
I think they wanted that game.
Yeah.
So, it's a long ways off.
Yeah.
Week 1, Baltimore, regular clothes. That's actually how they're billing it.
It's part of the
wear your regulars
campaign for the game.
Wear your normals.
Regular clothes.
Regular clothes. At BetOnline, the Ravens are the new Super Bowl favorite. What did they do that elevated them?
Not announce new uniforms? I don't know.
I don't think they have. I think you're right that they haven't. Pittsburgh did.
Yeah.
That's a mess. That Pittsburgh.
The helmet. I like the helmet. But the
why?
The
What?
uniform,
I
don't know.
Jeremy made a good point. They were analyzing how to do the new uniform stuff, and he's like, I agreed with him. You have to go far. You have to go far from what you already have to be able to sell it. And the Bills, with their normal blue uniforms, so to speak, to their throwback blue, it's not that different. I mean, a real fan would notice the stripes and the lettering and whatever else is different about that.
I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I love the look of the throwbacks that they'll wear twice this year with the standing red buffalo helmet, when they wear the all whites, the current all white version of the uniform, I like it almost just as much, even without the. I mean, I'd love the helmet on top of it, but it's not been that. I don't really notice the difference in the stripes or whatever it is. Like the all white look is just blows me away, regardless of how different it is one way or the other, from the real throwback to the current white jersey. I don't really notice that much of a difference. I suppose because I've never really looked at them side by side to try to differentiate. It's just not that important to me. I like the all white look, and you make the point. The ones they wear now aren't that different from the throwback. So I'd be surprised if you already have a white Bills jersey. Do you really need that white throwback when it goes on sale?
Right.
Now, this rivalry thing will be, I think, really out of the box as far as just what they've ever done. And it's a part of the idea here with Nike, being behind it. So that, will probably go bananas.
And we don't know when that'll be?
No, I don't know for sure when that's coming, but I think what I'd heard about that, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I Googled a couple different stories. I think they're going to announce them all at once. So there's no, teams leaking this or that. I think the league and Nike was going to want to release those 2 divisions. Here they are.
It's only 2.
Here's the first series. NFC West, AFC East are the 2 that are doing it.
Okay. Well, the Bills have primetime games in weeks 3 and 5. At home against division opponents. So you might think that one of those games would be the one.
Yeah.
Miami or New England. Which is better?
It's hard to say without knowing what their stuff is going to look like. I don't know what kind of it might be like you turn the TV on and just go, these colors.
Who are these people?
What is happening? I'm watching the Bills and the Dolphins, and it looks like I don't even know. It looks like some team from Germany or something.
The Lions. And did the Dolphins ever have? I don't think they did. They never had a different color scheme, Miami. They popped right in with aquamarine in the late 60s.
Yeah, I don't remember them in anything else ever.
Fun with colors and helmets and uniforms. We also have the beginning of training camp tomorrow. Sal Capaccio was on with us yesterday talking about offensive narratives, different storylines by position group. We'll have another conversation with Sal today with the defense in mind. Before that, Will Graves from the AP in Pittsburgh. Maybe a little bit on clothes, hopefully not too much. But what are the Steelers? I want to give them credit for one thing and one thing only. Will not be the uniforms. 803-0550 if you want to comment on the news today, the season coming up, maybe almost anything in between. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here for your calls. This is WGR.
Well, if we get a player who gets involved in something like that or does something that is just unacceptable, I don't want to pay him. I really don't. If he's sitting in jail, I don't think I ought to be paying him. So we say that if he got involved in conduct detrimental, we'd have the right to terminate the guaranteed part for the back years. His agent says, oh no, you can terminate the guaranteed part only for the remaining part of the year in which the event occurs.
Mike Brown of the Bengals. These owners have it so tough.
Yeah, they really do.
Maybe the Bengals are an implosion waiting to happen. How would you feel? I think if I'm a Bengals fan, I would be offended by a lot of what they do. But I was in the Super Bowl not that long ago, and my best guys are still here and in their prime. So I think I could be optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be so frustrating if the Bills had Allen and they had Diggs in the day and operated like this.
Where they're fighting with first-round draft picks, and they're fighting with their the guy who's leading the league in sacks the last couple of years, and you're like, hey, Super Bowl window. Yeah, I can remember talking to Joe Goodberry. I bet he'll remember it, and maybe you do too. Like even 2 or 3 years ago. How are they going to keep it all together? They're cash poor, right? They don't have the money at hand to pay out these contracts and have that money in escrow like you need to and all that stuff. They're just not. They're not as rich as many of the other owners in the league are. And I'm thinking about. I think I even referenced Carson Palmer. I got to get out of here. I don't believe in how we're doing this. I got to get out of here. And I thought that might happen with one of these big three on offense that they ended up keeping all three of, Higgins, Chase, and Burrow, of course. Now, Hendrickson, that seemed like it was going to be ugly a few months ago, and then I thought it calmed down during the spring. But now, he's sending out pictures of him driving to Florida, and they're opening camp and reporting today. So that doesn't seem like it's going that well. Yeah, they'd be they're like the Bills still owned by Ralph Wilson is kind of what they are. And that's a very tough spot to be in this era in football with the money that is just exploding everywhere. I think they have maybe as hard a time as any team in the league keeping up. And I think that's evidenced by the fights they end up in with their players. It's not to say like they wouldn't have a righteous stance on their side of it, but they're messy, But at the same time, the Cowboys have, unlimited resources, and they're, they don't do the cleanest business either with their star players. See Micah Parsons and what Jerry Jones is talking about. He's wealthier than the family that owns the Bengals, but he's still an 80-year-old man who's running a team, and that might not be optimal.
Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, late 70s, I think. By the way, similar in age to Ozzy Osbourne, Bulldog. So I never had an Ozzy Osbourne phase. Did you?
Not really.
But I'm sure you can appreciate him as a giant.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's a heavy metal Mount Rushmore, he's absolutely on it. I'm not here to tell you who else belongs on there, but I don't think...
He might be number one.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else that cares about that genre of music would argue with him being someone who should be included there. You can quibble about the members of other bands all you want, but he's a kingpin. They're given credit, and he's given credit for mostly inventing that style of music. So, that's...
I didn't know that.
That's important. That's got, obviously, tremendous staying power all these years later. It's morphed and changed many different times over, but it's still... what they started doing is still being, to some extent, copied, decades and decades later. So, yeah, he's a giant. It's been terrible spring and summer. Sly Stone, Brian Wilson, those are all people that in their genres, I might argue would belong. Brian Wilson on the Mount Rushmore of pop, Sly Stone on the Mount Rushmore of soul and R&B. Been a tough summer.
Yes. What is it that Ozzy Osbourne invented, or that Black Sabbath, like what is it that they did that was so different?
It was dirgy, like hard, heavy, like not, it was just heavy metal. Like it was just sludgy, like just like thick, heavy, like sounds like, you listen back to it now and it sounds like they're playing guitars with strings the size of telephone cables on them. Like it's just like this very, very punishing sound, I guess.
He seemed like a funny character.
Quite, yeah. The TV show, in the back end of his career and life, made him quite a character.
And he performed last week, I saw.
Yeah, they had a one final. I don't remember the name of it now, but yeah, one final like huge tribute, like lots of a lot of these bands that have him and them to thank for like sort of carving that path for them, played, and it was a huge thing. And he sat in a throne because he couldn't move around, and did one final set, and like a week later he's gone.
So a one-night thing. It wasn't on tour. Or
That's
anything.
right. It was a one-off with all the giants of that genre of music were there.
Did you watch his show? I didn't.
I would see bits of it here and there. Yeah,
just a nutty family.
you might say
that's one nutty family.
Not hard to imagine with him at the front of it. Yeah,
I just think. I have never listened to. I know a couple songs because they are always being played, but never really listened to the music. But I just know from listening to him on Howard Stern and Sharon Osbourne, just how the voice is so funny, and trying to figure out what he's actually saying was hard. Like just trying to follow it was not easy.
You might want subtitles if you were
to go back and watch help.
Those shows.
You want at least to have a teammate who can tell you what these words are. But yeah, a great loss for music fans. The Bills. So sorry, this is kind of weird now because we were on the Bengals and then we were on Ozzy Osbourne, thanks to me, and then now we're back on football, I guess. But I saw on DraftKings that you can, maybe on FanDuel also, you can bet on the number one seed.
Oh.
Did you know you can do that?
I've not looked. I haven't been in that pocket of the app since last Friday, Sam and I, you were off. Sam Panayotovich, who's with us every Friday at 3:30 from Bet Sweats, we did what you and I had done the previous Monday.
Division winners?
We put together an 8-team division parlay and on the air, and that's the last time I've been in that section of the
Did you enter it?
Yeah, I did. I made a bet on it. Yeah.
Oh, I want to know what it is.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's there's only Atlanta, maybe Dallas is the big one, odds wise. The rest is pretty chalky.
Dallas is like 5-1.
Yeah, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. I think I didn't even venture out to take fly around the Bengals or something. So yeah, I'll fill you in when I get a second to open it up.
Guess who is fourth for the 1 seed in the AFC by odds? The order you might not nail, but the top 3 are pretty easy.
Sure, Bills, Chiefs, Ravens.
Right. Bills the favorite, Ravens second, Chiefs a little bit back at third, but a bigger gap between third and fourth.
I would guess it's whoever is, I would almost expect, I'd be stunned if this isn't Houston, that is atop the AFC South division odds, and because the division is so bad, they probably get boosted up.
Ninth. Yep.
Is there, and no one else from that division is there? It's not
correct.
Like Jacksonville's not ahead of them. Wow.
Correct.
So
Houston plus 2,500, Jacksonville plus 4,500, Indianapolis plus 8,000, Tennessee plus 10,000.
Who is fourth then? It's not. Is it Cincinnati?
No. This is odds to be the 1 seed in the AFC at DraftKings.
And it's got to be the Chargers or the Broncos.
It's Denver.
Wow.
11-1.
Huh.
Could you imagine?
No. I like that team. The defense is getting a lot of love. I'm trying to remember. Might have been Sam or Matt Verderam, both of whom I spoke with late last week or the week before I was on vacation, who just said, it was Matt, I think, when he was on with me that Thursday. I just don't see how they're going to score points. Like, their defense is going to be really good, but I just don't trust that there's enough there for them to score points.
So you're not necessarily buying day 2 rookie Pat Bryant to be the next Michael Thomas?
I mean,
like his coach
I'm
insinuated.
I guess I want to be open to it, but no, I
do.
No,
I don't think I do.
No, I think when you and I did that exercise with the division winners, I think I was on Denver. They're like, okay, Kansas City's not going to just win and win and win. Let me do something, and the odds are attractive, so I thought to do it, but I never bet it. I just had it saved in the app, and then I flipped it back to Kansas City when Sam and I were doing it again.
I did bet 2 of those.
Don't trust it.
I did bet 2 of those on a different app.
I've only got the one in so far, but I don't know. I may take another flyer.
Because it was weird how sometimes you could flip teams toward a bigger underdog and have the odds come down.
Yeah, that was happening when we were doing it. Yeah, that's right. I think that happened again when I was talking to Sam about it too. So
it must just be like people are betting Team X for that bet, even though their odds are longer. They're going to pay you less. Although they always do want to pay you less no matter what the situation is. Denver at 11-1, Chargers at 12, Bengals at 14, New England at 20, Houston and Pittsburgh at 25-1, 1 seed. Wow. That's a lot has to go your way. Pretty much you need the big 3 to all struggle. Mm-hmm. Unless, if that doesn't happen, somebody's got to win at least 13 games. Houston is not crazy for that.
No, I know. I'm stunned that they're that low. Just because if the division is perceived as, somewhat weak. I mean, I feel a little better about Jacksonville this year than I have in a few years, but still, it's not. Indianapolis to me is probably going to be a real mess, and Tennessee might even be worse than that. So you should have some kind of I'm really surprised they're that low, Houston.
Maybe that's a play.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it pays literally 13 times more than the Bills would
right.
to be the one. And if you get, even if it's not Houston, if you get somebody to go 6-0 in there, they're good, everybody else is terrible, then you're off and running. That division plays the NFC West and the AFC West, which isn't great.
Right.
But what is great? The AFC East, I guess, is the division you want to play.
Right.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Even though you get Buffalo, you get the other 3, and a team like Baltimore would be favored against, so it may be the Bengals against the other 3, depending on where the game is.
Yeah, I would rate the South below the East, but, we're talking about playing other divisions, and so the South you'd want to play the East if you could. I think those are the 2 divisions that are there's a great team atop the one of them, of course, here in Buffalo in the East. Houston, I don't think is great, but they're the best team in that division, and everybody else is just kind of like meh.
Bills in week 1, a 1.5-point favorite over the Ravens on that Sunday night, 51.5. So 26.5 to 25. Just gotta get in shape. Got to get in shape for my implied team totals.
Mm-hmm.
Why wait until September?
Love those half points.
I got to get some preseason lines going. Yesterday I went way out on a limb and said I like the Giants here in the first preseason game.
Yeah.
More to prove.
Yeah. You still got time to change your mind on that.
I do. The Hall of Fame game comes first. That's next Thursday. The Chargers and the Lions.
Wow, yeah. That's why those teams are in camp so early.
But we don't know what Najee Harris is up to.
Yeah, I saw something today that since the agent made the comments after the incident on the 4th of July where he suffered, how was it worded again? It was
a superficial eye injury.
Superficial eye injury, right? Like, what is that? He hurt his eyelid? Like what? Anyway, since then, I guess the team hasn't said anything about him, and it's just been quiet.
I did hear about a report that he was in meetings.
Okay,
but he needed 2 specialists. for a superficial eye injury that's like no biggie. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's a little bit weird. What was weird about that one from the beginning is that the big reporters who get fed everything didn't have it. Schefter and Rappaport didn't have Najee Harris being injured in fireworks until like a couple of weeks later.
Yeah.
So people were not telling them like they usually would be, I think, on this one. Anyway, go get Omarion Hampton in your fantasy drafts. He probably will start week 1. You're already doing this.
Maybe you should do that already. Even
People were doing it already.
Irrespective of the superficial eye injury.
People were doing it. You're right. He was around mid to late round 4, and now he's late round 3 and maybe going higher because of this confusion over Najee Harris with the Chargers. We will talk to Will Graves from the AP in Pittsburgh about the upcoming season. That'll be in a little bit more than 15 minutes from now. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
time, and he lopped off his fingers, the ends of his fingers on his one hand. And when he was trying to play guitar again, he wasn't able to do so. He had to create these little wax kind of tips to his fingers, and he couldn't play the guitar with the strings at the same tension they're usually held at. So he had to tune down the guitar so that he'd be able to press and, make his frets and chords and everything. And that's the down-tuned sound of metal.
Yeah, that's that sludgy sound I was talking. I did not know this about Tony Iommi you're talking about here. I never read that about him.
Yeah, well, last day at work.
Wow. Well, that's crazy. Yeah.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Tony Iommi?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Iommi, I believe.
That's a great name.
I only know that from album covers. The backs of albums.
There were some great names in that golf tournament. The first day, before the lesser-known players get weeded out, right? I mean, there were some fun ones. That's what I mentioned last week when we were talking about those picks. Oh, just a chance to get it up for Christian Bezuidenhout. And a bunch of there's a French guy. There were some great names in there.
This tournament was the first time I realized that there are two Hogards.
Twins.
Yeah. I never knew this about them. I think I have been confused about it every time I've seen one or the other mentioned prominently. Like if one of them, maybe this happened at the Masters. I'm trying to remember. There was a day where I was out. Yeah, it was the Masters. The Saturday of the Masters. I was out. We had a great time. A lot of bets flying. We were texting back and forth, you and I. And one of them, I don't even know if both of them were in the field. So maybe it wasn't that tournament. But at some point or another, I feel like, oh, Rasmus Hogard is, 8 under and he's in 5th place. And then an hour later, I'll see another Hogard finishing up and he's,
Nikolai.
And I thought Hogard was doing. I never connected that there were two of them all this time. Yeah. It took until this weekend for me to realize, because they, talked about it, and I didn't realize there were two of them.
I don't think I did either. They were both pretty good this week.
They were both on the same leaderboard for a while, which would tip you off that there are actually two of them.
I'm still not sure.
There's two names,
but it did appear that way this week. Will Graves will focus on the Steelers and talk AFC outlook here with him after this. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Just a day out from camp, the Bills get involved in the uniform announcements. The 90s red helmet is going to be making its return in the final regular season game at the current Highmark Stadium, Week 18 against the New York Jets. And the Bills, they'll also be bringing back the standing Buffalo helmet. They'll be wearing that twice along with their throwback jerseys this season. Week 6 at Atlanta, they're also going to be wearing their throwbacks. And Week 11 at home against Tampa Bay. We've also had some roster moves announced today. Third-round rookie Landon Jackson activated off of PUP. He is not going to miss any time. And then among other moves, the Bills did release punter Jake Camarda. Brad Robbins now appears to be the team's starting punter heading into camp. And earlier today, Tom Pelissero of NFL Network reports running back James Cook will report to camp, though no word on if this will be a hold-in situation. We do have some holdouts, but we'll get to those here in just a minute. Coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you in part by Figo Car and Joy, Shore Border Attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealers today. We'll get more on the Bills at 5 o'clock when Sal Capaccio joins the show. Now to the holdouts, Bengals Trey Hendrickson, and just a few minutes ago, Adam Schefter reporting Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, both looking for new contracts. Baseball tonight, Jays host the Yankees, and the Mets have the Angels in town, while the Bisons, they are on the road versus Columbus, and all of those games will get started just after 7 o'clock, and you can listen to the Bisons over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Raisin Bran. You got to put Raisin Bran up there. Everybody knows it.
It's Mike Schopp.
Listen, get your own stupid old dying person team and choose your own cereals.
And the Bulldog.
I shall unleash my fury upon you like the crashing of 1,000 waves.
That cereal is soggy. You reach into the fridge for the milk and open the lid on the milk to pour it in there, and that crap is already soggy.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds.
That's a problem. That's a problem for a cereal. I
Huge
think.
problem.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
By the way, I've kept up my end of the bargain when it comes to the Cracklin-themed cereal fantasy names.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm glad to hear it.
My last effort was not as much of a crowd pleaser, Cracklin Pea Pods. That doesn't really connote cereal. It just feels like you're talking about pea pods.
That sounds like a healthy snack.
Cracklin Pea Pods.
Go get at Trader Joe's or something.
I bet they have it.
I bet they do too.
You throw that, but it's probably like tweaked in some interesting way. You throw Cracklin on there, you got something. That's really red helmets. Aggressive, power, strength, Cracklin, same. You got to look out for a team named Cracklin River Buddies or whatever. That doesn't work either.
I can't wait.
I've got a list.
I can't wait to get to the point where you're introducing our guest.
Will Graves with us. You got to get right to it because he will just hang up. So someone should. Will Graves from the AP in Pittsburgh with us now on the West Her Hotline. Here comes the season, Will.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about crackling. I don't know about if they're crackling in Pittsburgh. They might be creaking because, I mean, this is very busy off season, adding a bunch of older guys, which is sort of in which they feel as they made it very obvious. They're treating 2025 as sort of a one-off. Let's just throw stuff against the wall and see what happens, eyeing what looks like a full-on reset in 2026.
The Steelers are lucky they're not actually named Cracklin because you would be right there with creaking all day long. Here last year we had everybody eats, and for a while there, for me, Will, it was everybody snacks or everybody starves with this offense. You know, you gotta tweak it a little bit. Got to keep them honest.
Well, does it make sense to you what they're doing here? Like, what would you say the buy-in level is?
I guess. Look, they. You know, I was surprised they did not try to keep Justin Fields. Arthur Smith, their offensive coordinator, really likes Justin Fields, even though, you know, Justin sort of operated with the governor the 6 games that he started. It was very much a, hey, try not to lose it for us if you could approach. I think they showed a little more trust in him as that stretch went on, but as soon as Russell Wilson was available, they went to Russ, and they didn't go back to Justin even as the Steelers sputtered down the stretch. So, they looked at the draft and they said, look, we don't really see our guy in the draft. No offense to Will Howard, the kid from Ohio State who they got in the 6th round. So you might as well just, take a flyer on a future Hall of Famer, see if you can kind of capture lightning in a bottle, and, maybe something comes together. Maybe you win your first playoff game since 2016. It's hard to see that happening, but let's remember in the context of this, too, they signed T.J. Watt to his extension that he was going to get the whole time. He was going to get $1 more than Myles Garrett. Like, that's all T.J. wanted was $1 more. It was $1 million more a year ultimately than Myles Garrett. And they re-signed and they signed Omar Khan, their general manager, to a contract extension through 2030. So there's no heat on anybody here in 2025, including Mike Tomlin. So this is hey, let's just have some fun and kind of see what happens. I mean, it won't be boring, which sort of sucks because I was kind of looking forward to boring, from a workload standpoint. But it will be a very, very fascinating 6 months down here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you'll have a lot to do. You'll have a lot to write about, storylines. I guess if you haven't said it, Will, with the Steelers, I mean, they were a pretty easy mark this offseason. With Rodgers, you dabble with Aaron Rodgers, you're going to get, you're going to hear it. And Pickens isn't everybody's favorite, but a few things here sort of pointed you in a direction where can Pittsburgh just not have another season of middle 7 seed? Can the bottom fall out? I will say, though, I think if you're going to make the Rodgers move, you're fine doing the rest of it. Jalen Ramsey, and you got to pay Watt at that point. Like, once you push your chips in on Rodgers, the career he's had, I mean, you can't stop short and just play kids around him. Right. So I like that. I like this for that.
Right. I mean, my only pushback, and it's interesting, we haven't talked to really Mike Tomlin or any of these guys since the trade for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, a few weeks ago. If this was, and now the plan, as on July 22nd, the plan sort of, okay, we understand it, right? And nobody really did maybe on March 15th. Yeah. And to me, that the part that's like George Pickens was a problem child, to be very clear. The way that he was with us, got people that do what I do for a living, what we do, was the way that he was with some of his teammates and some of his coaches. That was an untenable situation. However, if you're going to go all in on one season, right, why not gamble? If you're going to gamble, I mean, if you're gambling anyway, what's another chip in the ante by keeping George Pickens? I mean, to get a 3rd-round pick for him, probably at the height of his value, because it's more likely if they kept him, you would respect the ambition, but it's likely it would have gone sideways at some point, and then you're trying to get rid of him at the trade deadline for a 6th-rounder, right? So I get it, but I just think that the offense is better for one season with DK Metcalf and George Pickens than DK Metcalf and to Jonnu Smith, who had an excellent year last year in Miami, but they already have a Jonnu Smith type tight end in Pat Freiermuth, right? So it'll be very interesting to kind of see how they go. But yeah, that's they are not mailing it in. They like when they let Fields go and let Russell Wilson go, and it looked like Rodgers was using them as maybe collateral to leverage to try to get himself in maybe a more favorable position elsewhere, and those positions dried up. You could see, they signed Mason Rudolph 5-12 and the number 7 pick in the draft, in which is going to be held in Pittsburgh. Here we come, and I think it's it's more likely. You're talking about. There's lots of different ways to get to 9-8 and 10-7, and the Steelers have found seemingly all of them in the last 2 years.
Yep.
I do not see that scenario happening this time. I think this could work out. This could be 14-3, or this could be 6-11. I don't think there's a lot of room for kind of the middle of the road stuff. I really think this is considering the stakes, and the all-in mentality for one season. I really think it's going to be a kind of an all or nothing situation for these guys.
Well, I really like the point you make about Pickens and they're all in, but still feeling like they need to divest themselves of that guy. That might, I mean, you're taking the team's word for it more than and yours. You're around him. You're saying like you know how he treated you guys.
It was definitely a problem, but like they've had bigger problems.
Yeah,
that they've managed.
Right. It really speaks to how maybe scared might be too strong, but worried they were that he could just mess up this year. That they're really trying to mount the thing and just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody's saying all the right things in Dallas, but let's see what happens in like week 4 when CeeDee Lamb has, 12 for 155 and 2 touchdowns, and George has 3 targets, 1 catch for 12 yards, and misses a block or 6, or doesn't even bother to block. Right? I mean, let's see what's happening. But just from a pure potential standpoint, potentially the Steelers' offense is better with George Pickens than Johnny Smith.
How much of a difference do you think it will be for Rodgers to go from the circus that was the New York Jets, recognizing that he brings some element of the circus with him everywhere he goes, like Mike alluded to at the outset of this conversation? You dabble in that, you're going to be an easy target. But the Jets were just pretty messy, really, to be kind here. And the Steelers, while they've had their share of drama with Pickens and then prior to that with other guys, it's Tomlin, it's Khan, it's ownership. I mean, it's buttoned up. I mean, they're a legacy franchise in the league, whereas the Jets have mostly been a punchline. How much of an impact, if any, do you think that has on Rodgers?
Let's remember, I mean, it's sort of, Green Bay, was a model of stability, is a model of stability, and has been really for the last 30-ish years, right? I mean, so there are, and that's where he spent the vast majority of his career outside of the last 2 seasons. So it's sort of a return to that sort of structure. And look, I think, and to your point, I mean, the day that he met with us at minicamp a few days after finally signing, part of the Aaron Rodgers experience is, 8 minutes into this 12-minute interview, somebody says, "Hey, what's that ring you got on there?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a wedding ring." And we're like, someone's like, "You got married?" He goes, "Oh, yeah." "When did that happen?" "I don't know, a while ago." And like that immediately becomes trending, right? Like that immediately vaults itself onto ESPN's headlines. And it's not anything else that he said, right? Like, but to me, like, that's sort of the Aaron Rodgers show, right? Like, here's the shiny thing that's going to make people go, "What?" over here, but here's the substance over here in the other corner. And, I think, and, I asked him, "Why are you still playing?" And he said, the gist of what he said is, "I'm doing this because I want to go out on a better note than I would have had I ended my career after 2 years in New York." And I think that he is playing for his legacy in some. I think the Jets, if the Steelers go 11-6, 12-5, win a playoff game, and he rides off into the sunset, people are going to view. It's just going to put the prism even more squarely on, man, the Jets really just had a chance with this good dude, and just obviously the injury the first year, but the second year just they just screwed it up. So I think he is playing for something that's you can't count in money, and you can't even muse about on the Pat McAfee show, right? Like, I think he's playing for the way that people will talk about him as a player in 6 or 7 years when he goes into camp.
Did he play Week 18 last year? I don't know. Week 17 here, his Jets were down. He did not. His Jets were down. Well, he did, actually. 40-0 was the score. Bills in the third quarter against Rodgers and the Jets. He did play the following week against the Dolphins. It'll be a fun week 1 with Rodgers against Fields and the Steelers and the Jets. Kind of weird for 2 quarterbacks to start against their previous team head-to-head right away.
Yeah, and it's, and Justin Fields, look, I really enjoyed having him around. He's a nice guy, kind of did everything the right way. Kind of got hosed a little bit, by the circumstance. That was a Mike Tomlin call to go to Russell Wilson. But Justin's going to be playing to prove that he's worth the $20 million a year that the Jets are paying him, and like the Steelers had an opportunity to match that contract and they chose not to. So that tells you what the Steelers thought about him as a long-term solution at quarterback. So he's got plenty to play for. And Rodgers, will be wanting. I think this guy just sort of revels in pettiness a little bit, right? I think that's just sort of kind of part of the whole show with him, and I think that he wants to. I'm sure he'll be wanting to stick it to the Jets, but it's also going to be, that being said, you're going to have. I mean, look, the Steelers have overhauled their offense, their skill position set offensively pretty significantly. You have a new quarterback, you got a number one receiver, DK Metcalf. Jonnu Smith is new. You got your rookie running back to join Jalen Warren, the kid from Iowa to join Jalen Warren in the backfield. You moved your right tackle to left tackle finally. You have last year's first-round pick who was hurt all year, kind of coming back and being able to start at right tackle. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and it could be and they're not likely to play together much during the preseason, during that one preseason game that played week 2, I guess, right? So it could be there'll be a lot at stake, but I think the football itself is probably going to be pretty ugly early, which is where the Steelers are hoping hey, we're going to do what we always kind of do week 1, week 2, week 3, and kind of win some games that maybe we're not supposed to because our defense does something that it typically does, and we have a guy named T.J. Watt that sort of specializes in that kind of stuff, right? So, I don't see Rodgers, as much as he'll want to, going in there and lighting it up at MetLife week 1, and I don't see Justin. I see the Steelers defense just pinning his ears back, ready to kind of hit Justin Fields in the way they weren't allowed to during practice last year.
So you mentioned the new parts here and Najee Harris out. I feel like for the last couple of years, there's been certainly amongst the fan base on social media, Jalen Warren, get him more touches. He's more dangerous than Harris. Is he up to being 1A, the guy, or is the door open for Caleb Johnson to make that a timeshare or even just sort of settle into the role that Najee Harris played?
Yeah, I mean, I think Caleb Johnson's certainly the long-term solution there. Jalen, you have nothing but respect for a guy who kind of makes the team as an undrafted rookie free agent and then outlasts a first-rounder, right, that they invested in. And he is an excellent change-of-pace guy. It's just hard to envision him, and I don't think the Steelers envision him as a 20 to 25 touch guy. I would not be surprised if by week 2, maybe even week 1, Caleb Johnson is sort of the starter. There's going to be, those Steelers will always talk about there's lots of touches to go around, and they did. I mean, look, Najee Harris was productive, by today's NFL running back standards. 1,000 yards first 4 years. I know it doesn't mean what it meant when they were playing 14-game seasons, but it's still a statistically significant plateau, right? And yet Jalen Warren was still the guy when he got the ball in his hands that was more exciting, that kind of had more of the big play potential. And also, by the way, a guy that loves to block. And it has cost him many tens of thousands of dollars the last couple of years because he keeps getting letters from the commissioner's office saying, hey, you can't hit guys like that. But he loves it because he's he's listed at 5', he's 5'9" and 220 pounds, right? He loves that sort of little guy stuff. It's hard for me to envision him becoming, the full-on lead dog where he gets 25 carries and 2 receptions a week. I really think they view Caleb Johnson as sort of the next Najee Harris, Le'Veon Bell type. I mean, when Mike Tomlin was talking about him after they drafted him, he said, look, he went to Iowa. You see a lot of what Mike called Sunday fronts, a lot of defenses who knew exactly what was coming because you're playing Iowa, and the guy was effective anyway. And that is something that jumped off the tape to the Steelers, and I think that they view Caleb Johnson, the bigger guy, as sort of the guy. I think he's their guy for probably the next 3 to 5 years.
Harris really did have the same season 4 times. 1,000 yards, 4 yards a carry. At a time in football history, that would have played, but not really anymore.
I mean, Franco Harris didn't even do that, right?
Yeah.
But it was a different time, right?
Yeah.
It was just a different time in football.
And he also had that one game, Bulldog, when Roethlisberger was still the quarterback, where he got 19 targets. Think about Najee Harris getting 19 targets in a game. Week 3 in his rookie year. Cook had 38 all year last year.
That breaks my brain.
But I mean, I think that speaks to sort of that might happen this year because I think the line in 2021 in Najee's rookie season was not great, and I'm not saying that this line, with Broderick Jones now at left tackle and Isaac Seumalo at right tackle and Mason McCormick at one guard and Isaac Seumalo at the other one, and the kid from Zach Frazier, in his second-year center. Like, they could be good, but I think, they have a 41-year-old quarterback who can't move like he used to, and I think he is very much where Ben was at the end of his career, and Ben was like, man, I took a lot of shots. I am done taking shots.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons Najee had 19 targets in a game, because Ben was like, you know what, I could stay in here for another half second and get my brains beat in a little bit more, or I could dump it off to my running back. And I really think there's a huge potential for that, especially early in the season for Rodgers.
I like it. And Rodgers has always loved to do it. I mean, in his MVP years, he threw 60, 70 passes to Aaron Jones. So it was kind of a part of his game already. Before you go, Will, how do you think Metcalf works as a fit for Rodgers and the Steelers?
Well, I mean, look, this isn't, they might be taking 1-year flyers on, Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Ramsey, and, but they're not taking a 1-year flyer on DK Metcalf. I mean, they gave him a 5-year deal. I believe that I think there was a reason that DK, although he showed up for team stuff, that he wasn't there during OTAs. I mean, he had been in the building, he had been in meetings, he had been on the field, throwing the ball around with the guys not named Aaron Rodgers, but when it came time to play football or whatever facsimile you get during OTAs, it's pretty telling that he wasn't there. Aaron Rodgers is he recruited Rod. He set up that meeting that at UCLA that, oh, by the way, here's somebody around to randomly videotape this. How did this happen? I don't believe it, right? Like, I think that they sort of picked each other. I think, DK understands I'm going to have a Hall of Famer throwing me the ball this season, and then next season, who knows, right? So he's going to be highly motivated to be productive and fit in and be, look, the guy's a physical marvel, right? I mean, he is. He's just, you look at him and you're like, oh, my God. And his numbers are good, but you're always like, how is this guy not a 115 catch, 1,800-yard, 15 touchdown guy, right? I don't think that's going to happen in Pittsburgh just because of the nature of the offense. But I really do think he wants to prove he is worth the money that the Steelers gave him. And I think he's at least the first year anyway. I certainly think we're going to get the good soldier DK Metcalf, as opposed to the guy that could sometimes have his emotions get the better of him in Seattle when things didn't go maybe the way that he wanted.
Do you think they got out of the Minkah Fitzpatrick business at the right time, or do you think that there's a void back there?
They made a decision that, Minkah was, a year from now was going to be in the same position that TJ Watt was in this offseason, right? Entering the final year of his deal. Unlike TJ, Minkah can't point to his resume, although, look, widely respected, perennial All-Pro. Hadn't made the splash plays that, were sort of the hallmark in the early stages of his career. A lot of that, the Steelers, from Terrell Austin, their defensive coordinator, to Mike Tomlin, on down, would point to scheme, that it was, Minkah's job to keep a lid on it, to prevent big plays. But you know what? They decided that that TJ was worth, $43 million or $41 million a year for a 3-year extension after his 30th birthday. Minkah a couple years younger, but they weren't going to pay him. He's going to want to raise off the $23 million that he's making, and they were not going to do that, right? So, to get Smith and Jalen Ramsey, it's a pretty good trade. Pretty beneficial for them. I'll be curious though. I mean, people get on Minkah for not making the big plays, but let's remember what happened late in the season, including against Kansas City, but especially in the playoffs against the Ravens. Was it Minkah Fitzpatrick's fault that the 9 guys, we'll take the other safety, Deshaun Elliott, we'll take him out of the equation, the 9 guys in front of him couldn't tackle Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson as the ball got shoved down their throat? Is it Minkah's fault that he was forced to try to tackle these guys 15 yards downfield? So whatever problems the Steelers defense had at the end of the season, Minkah Fitzpatrick was not one of them, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I also think, though, that this is a guy that takes this football very, very, very seriously. And look, an NFL locker room is like any other office in the world, any other business in the world. There's different personalities, there's different approaches to the job. But I mean, if Minkah Fitzpatrick, a Nick Saban guy, if Nick Saban was designing a football player in a lab from the neck up, he would want. I mean, Minkah Fitzpatrick would be that guy, right? And he is that guy. So I just think they decided they weren't going to pay him after next year. They didn't want to have the drama that they had with TJ this offseason going into next year. Better to just sort of, kind of make a trade that looks like it might be mutually beneficial for both sides. Minka's going to be fine. The Steelers, they have Deshaun Elliott. Maybe he probably moves into Minka's spot because they signed him to do a 2-year deal. Maybe they have Jalen Ramsey, who's still pretty good on the outside, but maybe they move him to corner. I'm sorry, they move him to one of the safety spots. But I think Minka is going to have a pretty productive year in Miami. And I think that there's going to be a time in like late October where the Steelers are going to be wondering, why did we trade Minka again? But that's just me.
Well, it may work for Aaron Rodgers, but I'd best be careful if I'm asked, and I never am, when did you get married? And I say, I don't know, a while ago. I'd probably not want to put it quite that way out loud. But
I mean, it was very, very bizarre, and we don't even know. Like my boss. So I'm writing this whole story that day. It's good for my soul to be here and whatever. And then I threw in at the end about the marriage thing, and it was sort of like, this is sort of what it's like to be this is just part of the show. He randomly says that he's married, right? Then I get a note from my boss. Can we write 300 words separately on him saying he's married because it's trending and whatever? I'm like, we don't even know who he married.
Right.
He mentioned a name on McAfee in December, and that's what we're going on. And he's like, look, that's pin it on him, but that's what we're doing. There's going to be a lot of days. There's going to be a lot of days like that in the next 6 months, and that's the part of the job I'm not looking forward to.
That's what you meant when you said I wanted this year to be boring.
Right.
I didn't want to have to do that article.
Right. I mean, I've had Antonio Brown, James Harrison, Juju, Martavis Bryant. Pickens. The list goes on and on and on of guys that have just sort of make headlines for stuff that doesn't happen on the football field, and Aaron Rodgers is at the top of that list, so buckle up.
Enjoy it if you can, Will. Thanks for your time today, as always.
All right, take care.
Will Graves, the AP in Pittsburgh. 803-0550, Bills camp opens tomorrow. There is a James Cook update today. Wouldn't it be ironic if, after all these days of talking about Cook today, we just didn't? But I think we probably should and certainly could do a little bit. What's the latest on that? Sal's going to join us later. He's got an article about storylines and narratives by position group on defense. Offense was yesterday. We'll get into that a little bit as well. Lines open. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
After months of speculation and a day before camp begins, the Bills do finally get involved in the uniform announcements. The red helmet from the 90s is making a return. The final regular season game at the current Highmark Stadium, Week 18 against the Jets. That is not the only throwback helmet the Bills will be wearing. They're also bringing back the Standing Buffalo, plus the throwback jerseys twice this season, Week 6 at Atlanta, and then they'll also be in Week 11 home against Tampa Bay. Atlanta also be wearing their throwback uniforms that week. Bills' third-round rookie Landon Jackson has been activated off a PUP. He will not miss any time. And speaking of not missing any time, running back James Cook, reportedly from Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, will report to camp, though no word on if it will be a hold-in situation on those. Bengals Trey Hendrickson and Washington wide receiver Terry McLaurin not reporting to camp. Both are looking for new contracts. And then the Raiders, they are signing safety Jamal Adams. We'll get more on the Bills as Sal Capaccio will join the show at 5 o'clock. While in baseball tonight, the Jays host the Yankees and the Mets have the Angels in town. And then the Bisons, they are on the road versus Columbus. All three of those games will start just after 7 o'clock. And the Bisons, you can listen to them over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think everybody in this building values Terry very much. And we knew that coming in, and we knew that even more after spending a year with him. In terms of where we're at, we've had conversations recently, and we'll look to have some more conversations, and we're going to do everything we can in order to get a deal done.
Washington Commanders GM Adam Peters. Terry McLaurin, I'm not sure it's more interesting than Trey Hendrickson. That one seems more combative. But McLaurin might be second right now in the league for these. This came up yesterday. A caller from Virginia mentioned McLaurin and compared him to James Cook. And it's also two guys who I think are trying to capitalize off big touchdown years, which, I mean, I could see an agent pushing you to do that.
Now's the time.
Cook spiked like crazy last year in touchdowns. So did McLaurin. He's never been a big touchdown scorer. But, man, he's in a good position if Washington is willing to listen at all. I mean, he's older. It's a tough one. He's around 30, and he's looking to really hit a new contract. How can Washington go to work without him? I mean, who do they have? They have Debo. They have Zach Ertz. They have maybe still Noah Brown. Running backs are just okay. They don't really have... I don't think McLaurin is great. I think he's very good, and it's tough to put Daniels in that spot if, he's not on the field. Just what a blow. So maybe he has him.
I would bet I feel like he does. I think he will get something close to what he wants. I think this is, when that caller brought this up, it's just receiver value versus running back value. The hitch is I didn't realize McLaurin. I've known his name, I've known who he is. He's been a very good to great receiver for a few years now. I didn't know he was already that old. So this is a little bit like if the Diggs thing had gone smoothly, say, right, there wasn't the turbulence that there was. Organizationally and whatever was, personally going on between he and other members of the organization. You get to last year or whenever, the contract is starting to it's time to adjust it. $35 million is the going rate for number one guys, but he's going to be 31 in season or something. Ooh, do I want to do that? Right? I'm paying for past performance here, and I'm probably going to regret. If it's 4 years, I'm probably going to regret 2 of them at least, and that's a tough way to live. But what are you trying to accomplish, right? I mean, Washington took the league by storm pretty much last year. New ownership, new rookie quarterback, bang, we're great right out of the box. You want to keep that going. So I think he has them, even though he is 30. That's not an age I would be eager to sign a guy to a 4-year, $130 million extension or whatever it's going to take. But, do I want to keep the train on the tracks? I think I do.
You definitely should not sign him, but you have to.
Right.
30 in September. 803-0550. Sal joins us at 5, talking about some defense storylines. James Cook reportedly will be here tomorrow. Will he participate is what remains to be seen. So finally some development on that front, first day of camp tomorrow. Looking at the bet board we have here in the room, these guys in the morning have to get it together. Will James Cook be at minicamp? He was at minicamp.
Am I supposed to do the work to retrace that with a marker so that it can be erased? That's not our bet. I don't want to erase it.
No, they should erase it. That's part of the job here.
Somebody should pay it off. Who won the bet? Jeremy won the bet. Fine. Get your $5 from your partner there, or is that who's the other? Is that Joe?
I don't know. I can't read it.
Nate. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, that's got to go.
Get it out of there.
No, it's over.
I mean, what if it said 2026?
Sure, right.
The next one down is my beloved Tannehill bet with Joe. I'm thinking about waving the white flag on that. Where did he go?
Home.
He just went home.
He went home. I would want... I think it's hilarious that it's still there, and the bet is hilarious in and of itself.
Yeah,
right. The fact that he's not on a team right now is hilarious. He could still, to me, until he says I'm done, some team that's in trouble could call him, and who knows? he could go Minnesota. Something happens to McCarthy. Oh no, we need a guy. And here comes Ryan Tannehill, and Kevin O'Connell works his magic, and whatever. I wouldn't want to give up on it yet. I know it's very far-fetched, but I think it still belongs up there.
What I could really use as somebody that made a bet several years ago that Ryan Tannehill would start and win a Super Bowl someday at 20-1 odds. And then his team went and was the 1 seed in the AFC, by the way.
Right.
Not long after. What I'm dying for, though, he was not in the league last year. He's nowhere this year. Where are the big insiders carrying the water with the occasional Ryan Tannehill says he's in the best shape of his life. He's just looking for an opportunity.
He's working out at his former high school field. And
right. The COVID field.
Right.
Where all the Titans went to work out during the COVID period. Yeah, and then Rappaport would tack on like an experienced signal caller just waiting by the phone.
Right.
Like that's what I need. I need somebody to speak up for this guy.
Yeah.
And then if they do, and he signs with New Orleans to be Tyler Shugg's mentor, well, I'll erase the bet. I mean, that's not going to happen. He's not going to win the Super Bowl this year for New Orleans. He has to be – we need a Gardner Minshew or, dare I say it, a Mitch Trubisky injury.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then he latches on to a contender.
Yeah, we do. There are other things on here that are problematic. You can't even really read a couple that I think are still active. There's something about Dak Prescott here, week 1, 2026, but you can barely read it. Then Justin Fields right below that. That's still live, but you can't barely read it.
Will he ever throw for 4,000 yards?
Right.
That one.
That would still be alive, of course.
That's a no, isn't it?
I would expect it to be a no, but whatever. He's still playing, so it could happen. So it's not settled.
His career high is 25.
We've got our own problem here. This Alex Tuck next Sabres captain.
I could take that
with
down.
you and Negranu.
Yes.
That's got to go.
Kid Poker owes me $5.
That's really old.
That's old.
Yeah.
That's right after the Eichel trade.
Right.
Because he was mad at Vegas. He lives out there, at least that's one place where he lives, and he was not impressed with their tactics. And he liked Alex Tuck. He came on the show and said, I'll get $5, he'll be your next captain. What am I going to do? Text him? Right. Where's my money?
Right.
Daniel Negreanu? Like what?
Right.
I can't do that.
Right.
But I haven't erased it because there's not been resolution.
But it's settled. I mean, he was not the next captain.
So I am owed.
Yes. But still, I would vote that needs to go. Make room.
Yeah.
We'll get probably something on this. The Joe and Nate have Dak, Lamb, and Parsons all getting extended bet. And Dak and CeeDee Lamb have been extended. Parsons, probably that'll get done this summer. So that's going to have to go. We're going to have to hang on to Belichick winning another playoff game at the bottom there.
I know.
I mean, he's not in the league, but he's still coaching, so I don't want to say die on that yet.
But I'm not the favorite.
No, you're not.
He has to actually coach in the league again.
That's a good start. That would give you a chance.
But Pete Carroll was gone there and came back.
Yep.
And
won a Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, that's then, and now he's back again. I mean, he was out of the league and now came back again.
Okay, right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was thinking of he was at USC before he went to Seattle.
Right. And last year, if we had bet, will Pete Carroll, he hasn't done it, but will Pete Carroll win another playoff game? I think we both would have thought, well, he's not going to coach in the league anymore.
Right.
And now he is.
Right. So that Belichick bet needs to stay.
I guess.
But the Tuck thing's got to go.
Got to go.
This James Cook mini camp, I mean, what are we doing here? And now they've got the excuse that they're going to be at camp. I don't know how every day that's going to be. That starts tomorrow. They'll be at camp. First practice tomorrow morning. So,
one of them needs to come in on Sunday.
Clean the board.
Take that down. Yeah.
Let's get it together, bet board.
The other one that's not readable is who the Bills will open with in the new stadium.
Oh, that's what that is below the Tannehill bet?
Yeah, but it's barely...
Right, I can't make
barely
that out
visible.
at all. Good memory.
They knew the 26 schedule, so they split it up.
Oh, right.
And who would be the first opponent? Which, that's kind of a fun question.
Yeah.
Now, it's close.
Why is that so faded? Like, it looks like it was someone tried to erase it.
They used pencil, I think, on that one.
That's tough. I've never seen that pencil on a dry erase board.
2026 Bills home opponents. That was me talking to my computer. Who should be the home opener next year? Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, Chiefs, Chargers, Bears, Lions, and whoever the team that lines up with them in the standings from the AFC North. So right now, likely Baltimore. Want to do that again? See, there's a year.
It's going to be the Thursday opener after they win the Super Bowl.
Very possible.
So it's going to be some marquee team there, and I would expect not from the division.
Yeah. There's one where, for all the years, I'll say you can't make the first game too good. There's a situation where you would. Kansas City could be that game next year.
Right.
Because of the stadium.
Right. Or Baltimore, again, even though it was just this year.
They just did it, yeah. But if, like, the Lions are in the Super Bowl, there's a rematch potential. Mm-hmm. I'm fading the Lions. I'm out.
I put one 8-team parlay in division winners, and I took the Vikings instead of the Lions.
Even though the price may not have been better or much better.
It really didn't do much to it, but I want to do this anyways.
All right. Well, I don't know who's got whom up there on that board, but those are the 8 opponents for next year. The extra game will be a road game next year at the NFC West. So whoever, I guess, wins that division, here I go, cocky. Well, the Bills will go to that team. We'll talk to Sal at 5. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at WGR.
living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright.
Welcome back. Sal is coming up. Earlier we talked to Pittsburgh reporter Will Graves, among other things, about how the Steelers visit the Jets in Week 1. So Aaron Rodgers for Pittsburgh against his former team, the Jets, with Justin Fields, ex-Steeler, starting for them. Here's a question I had that has nothing to do with that game.
Good setup.
It's a tough one, so I'm asking you. I got to go to somebody who would know. Who starts more games this year? Jameis Winston for the Giants or Kenny Pickett?
Ugh.
They could both be zeros.
Yeah, I feel like Pickett, they're both in. I mean, Wilson, I think, outranks Winston. There's a rookie there. It's going to be weird if both Wilson and Winston are there. That doesn't mean Winston can't go somewhere else and then start games. Same for Pickett. I feel like he's the odd man out there. I would guess, anyway, that they keep Flacco and the two kids and that Pickett goes elsewhere. Man, I think zeros are, well, you're not saying different. I think those zeros are the most likely outcome for both guys, I would say right now. So I have a very hard time picking one above the other.
Okay. I do not see Jameis Winston starting Week 1 at all for the Giants. I think Pickett could start Week 1. Probably not. But if there's a competition there, maybe he's somebody, I think I made this point last week, he's somebody where they could middle experience and youth in a way that works for the team to the best extent possible. That, Flacco isn't the worst, but it does feel a little bit like it's a little bit patronizing.
Mm-hmm.
You've got two rookies. Pickett, anyway, is somebody that you maybe could convince your guys that can play it, a little bit.
I suppose maybe he can have the Nathan Peterman preseason where he completes 81% of his passes or something, and it's like, oh, look at this guy.
Would you put Kirk Cousins over both?
Yeah. He to me is more... None of these ideas are very good ideas, very credible ideas to me, but Cousins, I think, is more recently a credible idea.
Not terrible.
More recently, not terrible. So someone gets hurt and someone needs a guy quickly, then I think I could see that.
And then there's Zach Wilson in Miami. I mean, he's the backup.
Yep.
And Tua is the starter. Who knows?
Yep.
Sal after sports here on WGR.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day, alright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time.
It's a day out from camp. The Buffalo Bills do get involved in the uniform announcements. The 90s helmets will make its return in the final regular season game at the current Highmark Stadium, Week 18 against the Jets. The Bills also bringing back the Standing Buffalo helmet twice this season, along with their throwback jerseys Week 6 at Atlanta. Falcons also wearing the throwback jerseys that week, and Week 11 at home against Tampa Bay. We've also got some roster moves today. Third-round rookie Landon Jackson has been activated off of PUP. He will not miss any camp time. And among other moves, the Bills did release punter Jake Camarda. Brad Robbins now appears to be the team's starting punter heading into camp. And then earlier this morning, Tom Pelissero of NFL Network reported that running back James Cook will report to camp, though no word on if this will be a hold-in situation. We'll get more on the Bills as Sal Capaccio joins the show next. But a reminder, the coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. And driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. We do have some camp hold-ins. Bengals edge rusher Trey Hendrickson and Washington wide receiver Terry McLaurin not reporting to camp, both looking for new contracts, while the Raiders are signing safety Jamal Adams. And then in baseball tonight, Jays host the Yankees, while the Mets have the Angels in town, and then the Bisons, they begin a 6-game road trip against Columbus. All 3 of those games starting just after 7 o'clock, and you can listen to the Bisons over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I was texting with Sal last night a little bit during the Yankees game, Yankees-Blue Jays, and I felt, and I was thinking about it just now, also, like I feel like I only do that with him about the Yankees when they're losing. And I don't mean it to be like that. I don't mean it. I'm interested in the Jays. I mean, I'm more of a Jays fan than any other team. I guess I'm kind of bandwagon then because it's only when they're good. But last night's game was really interesting. In the middle innings, Rodon, the Yankee pitcher, could not finish guys. Like there were 2 or 3 at bats in a row. One guy went 14 pitches against Rodon. And the most recent tweet on my screen is how the Blue Jays have the 7th lowest versus league average, like fewest strikeouts, lowest strikeout percentage at the plate, like one of the lowest since World War II from Mike Petriello, which kind of confirms my priors from last night. Like I don't really know that lineup very well, but man, Rodon, once Rodon got, I think it was Schneider out after 14 pitches, he tipped his cap to him. Like great battle, buddy. Right. I know it was tough defense for the Yanks last night. The lead is 4. Scherzer for Toronto tonight against the Yankees. Sal, do you have a Yankees take? How does it look right now?
It looks bad. I mean, they really have to go out and find a couple arms. They have some injuries, and things just aren't going well. The Blue Jays are just so hot. You don't text me only when the Yankees are losing. It just so happens they've been losing a lot lately, and when you text me, it just happens because of that, right?
I like hearing that.
See, he's being hard on himself, but I thought to text Paul, the kid who's pitching tonight. Say his name again if you can.
I think it's
Careful.
Schlittler.
Right. I was watching his debut. I think you said earlier you were as well. And if I remember right, it went really well, and then he got hit around a little in the middle innings, I think. But early in the game, I was going to text Paul, are you watching this kid? This is awesome. And then I didn't, and then I felt like it would have been kind of jerky to do it once he got knocked around a bit, if I remember correctly anyway. But I thought to reach out to Paul, like, you can check this kid out, man. I'm sure he's watching.
Well, I think that same night, he did that, and then the Yankees faced a kid from, was it Cincinnati, who looked great the first time through the order, and then he got hit, right? That's what happens. These guys are so good. They face the order one time, and they can kind of get out and like this, make a little adjustments, and they hit them. I'll say this, though. The biggest thing for me with the Yankees right now, they have a very big decision to make on Spencer Jones, this tall, power-hitting outfielder. He's been described as a left-handed Aaron Judge, and he is mashing right now with Syracuse. Like he's had 2 straight 4-hit games. He's mashing home runs, but he strikes out at a really high rate, although that's cut down. And the decision is, A, do they at some point decide to elevate him, but there's really no spots. They can't this year, maybe next year. Or B, do they use him as a trade piece? Do they think he's not going to really be the guy like an Aaron Judge. They had the same decision with Aaron Judge years ago. They held on to him, and that turned out well.
Yeah. I also think watching I got to the game late last night, so I missed all of the scoring, but I heard it was a lot of kicking the ball around the infield stuff, and Volpe is in the middle of that. And I wonder if there isn't a big – he's not hitting, and he's leading all of the American League, any position, in errors.
12?
That
maybe?
just sounds like 12 is the number. I think that I heard last night. That sounds like something you got to do something about.
I have to tell you, it's so funny. Max said the same thing to me last night. He said, why don't they trade Volpe, or why is he even playing? He makes so many errors. And I said, well, he's kind of like boom or bust, though, because he also makes a lot of plays other shortstops can't make or don't make. But you're right, he makes too many errors, and he isn't swinging a great bat. He did have a couple of home runs the other day in a game, but that's right. So you're on the same page. Max was wondering the same thing, and I don't know. But he has definitely made a few too many mistakes.
The Blue Jays love to walk Judge. That's another one. It's Chase Burns is the Reds pitcher. He's still looking for his first win, and he goes tonight in Washington. Training camp coverage at St. John Fisher is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's your place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. We'll get to the report on James Cook and probably talk about the helmets news. But before that, Sal, thinking about your pieces on storylines by position group. Yesterday we did offense, today defense. What's number one for you on defense as far as things to watch, narratives go?
Yeah, it's really the one open position on the team, I think, is a starter, which is cornerback opposite Christian Benford. I think I would expect Tre'Davious White to be the guy in that spot tomorrow when we get there, and then kind of be that guy for the time being. But at what point, if any, does Max Harrison start to cut into his reps? Can he do that? This is the only true, I think, starting position open on offense or defense. I mean, you could say maybe Cole Bishop at safety, but it's Cole Bishop's job. He just has to stay healthy, really. To me, that's what happens there. This is truly a competition. So I think that's, to me, the number one storyline on that side of the ball is who winds up starting week one against the Baltimore Ravens. Is it Max Harrison or is it Tre'Davious White? And, I just think about the way that this team operates and the window that they're in. You could definitely make the argument of throw him out to the Wolves. If he gets beat, he gets beat, but you got to give him that experience. I totally understand that. But I think the Bills really want to have that position buttoned up. And I think, just not making mistakes is very important to them. And can he handle not making mistakes? Because I think they feel Tre'Davious White would have, obviously, the much better chance of at least doing and being where he's supposed to be.
Boy, I would love to be in a room when they are, because I by saying this, I'm predicting that they will be doing this, are analyzing every cut, every pivot, every change of direction. I'm sorry, I'm saying the same thing with different words, but every move he makes on the field, like is he like, how close to peak Trey White is he? Is this problematic? Like, I would think they're going to be analyzing every single frame of film on him.
Eric Wood was on Extra Point Show with me today, and I really like his point that he said he thinks the reps will be divided pretty evenly because they want to see them go against the same competition. And I like that point, right? Which is, okay, we've seen Tre'Davious White against Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir. Now let's see Max Harrison against Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir. If you don't have them go against the same competition, it's kind of a tougher evaluation, right? You're grading on a curve. So I agree with you. All of that kind of has to go into the equation.
There's a lot riding on this, if I need to say it. Up front, last year, this offseason, I would say, too, I think they're a little bit underappreciated. There certainly have been a lot of moves, but against the run and edge pressure, the Bills are not bad. But if corner 2 is trouble and they're not tight at safety, yesterday ESPN did roster breakdowns and rankings by team, and they put safety as I think the word was weakness for the Bills of all positions on the team, then you could have a problem here, Sal. I mean, I know I don't have to tell you that, but if the Bills are vulnerable in the secondary, it'll really be the first time under McDermott that you might have this particular struggle.
I would say some people would say last year they were a little bit there, Mike, but they did the baseline stuff well enough, but they just didn't come up. Last year where they struggled was those third downs and long and getting off the field. The turnovers really saved them last year in a lot of ways. And how much can you really rely on getting those turnovers again? As Steve Tasker said many times, he's right. Turnovers aren't a strategy. You can't just say we're going to get them. They have to. They come, and it's great, but you can't rely on them. And they did last year get a lot of them, but I think they struggled at times in the secondary for the fact that they just didn't have those playmakers. They didn't have guys who really make a play on the ball when a play is needed to be made at times. That's where a guy like Cole Bishop might come in, and I think it makes Taylor Rapp a little bit better too because DeMar Hamlin's not that guy. He gives you a baseline, and he was fine. I think DeMar Hamlin deserves a lot of credit for last year. I really do. I think he played better than people give him credit for. And he stepped into a tougher situation because nobody really expected him to be a starter. People wanted him to be on the team. He wound up starting most games for a team that goes to the AFC Championship game, and he played okay. But what he didn't do was make plays on the ball and make those critical plays in those situations. They really need Cole Bishop to take that job and do that. And if Cole Bishop can't, if he doesn't stay healthy or if he can't do that physically, he doesn't make those plays, then I do think you're wondering, okay, what do you have here? Because that could be something that really hurts this team.
Yeah, but for anyone who's wondering, like, I think I know everything. Why do I need to read Sal's recap of these defensive, priorities and storylines to watch? Good reminder in here, the Cole Bishop paragraph. He missed minicamp this year with an injury, so he missed all of camp last year. It was behind the 8 ball all year. Showed some moments. Looked competent when he did get some chances, but it was a very small sample, and already this spring he was missing. Like it's way too early to say this guy's a problem in that area, but I mean that's rough. I mean they barely are doing anything, and he already got hurt.
No, I agree with you. And let's remember when he came out of college, he was already kind of ready-made to play in the NFL, right? He went to Utah, and they believe he could step right in, and he had an opportunity. And when he didn't, remember Mike Edwards too. That was a guy I thought he was going to be a starter, guys. Like, things just kind of really went awry, which is, again, go back to why DeMar Hamlin found himself in that situation and position. So now Cole Bishop has this opportunity. Can he step into it? Can he stay healthy? What did Dalton Kincaid say about the two of them when they were playing in college? He really got the better of them a lot of times when they were at practice. So, yeah, I think this is a very interesting story to watch. It could really be something that we're thinking, oh, my God, what are they doing? They have to address it. Or we could be sitting here after week 5 or 6 going, boy, that's a big-time difference from what they had last year at this point.
Sal Capaccio with us. Milano might deserve to be mentioned in this context, too. Just what he looks like. Another one to watch here in the next few days.
I think Matt Milano, guys, to me, I think Matt Milano represents just for the Bills a guy that if he can stay healthy. Here's what Hot Whale said. I think the Bills believe that as long as Matt Milano's healthy, he's going to be really good for them and be a difference maker. The question is, can he stay healthy? He's had a couple injuries over the last couple of years. The way he plays, he's a little bit undersized. He plays violently. He's getting a little bit older. There's wear and tear on the body. But I think all you need to know about what they think about Matt Milano, he played every single snap against the Denver Broncos on defense after he came back and was on the field just for a few weeks, and Dorian Williams did not play a snap in that game. When it came time to, okay, here we go, it's playoff time, Matt Milano was the guy in the field. Yes, I know they restructured his deal. He's got 1 year left. In the team, they'll figure it out. He took a pay cut. He's betting on himself, all of that. But I will tell you, I believe the Bills think that if Matt Milano is healthy, they have maybe the best linebacking duo, if not close to it, in the NFL between him on the weak side and Terrell Bernard in the middle.
I like those two for sure, but with the big picture in mind, what you're talking about here, even mentioning Dorian Williams, to me, that's a guy you might want to find opportunity to get on the field more than just a regular backup, as good as Milano is. With the big picture in mind, let's make sure maybe you handle Milano a little like they'll handle Bosa, or some of us have thought that they should handle Bosa, right? Like bubble wrap, okay? I'm not saying don't play him, right? I mean, he's your starting weak side linebacker. He's gonna play. But maybe like a series a quarter or every third or fourth series, like here's Dorian Williams, just to keep the miles down on his odometer this year.
Yeah, maybe sneak in some reps here or there in situations in games, right? I mean, you have a couple of touchdown lead, it's fourth quarter, maybe you're not making wholesale changes, but maybe Matt Milano takes a series off, right? Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe you start to do that with a guy like this because you'd want him as healthy as possible when you get to December, when you get to January. So no doubt that's a guy that – and look, I also think there's a chance for Dorian Williams to get on the field maybe in other situations, base situations. It doesn't have to be in lieu of Matt Milano. The team, this team, we all love Taron Johnson. We know how great he is. But the reality is teams have taken advantage of the Bills being light in the box. They've taken advantage of Taron Johnson at corner. Teams have gotten better at running the ball against the Bills, and this is one of the reasons why. Because the Bills are a little bit undersized on defense. It's no secret. They'd rather be athletic. They play like that intentionally. The Bills may have to have a bit of a philosophy change here, guys, and say, you know what, we can't just run nickel every single time. Yes, he's a great player. We love having Taron out there, but we got to go a little bit bigger sometimes on defense.
Thinking about James Cook here, the report today was that he's expected to be present at Fisher tomorrow. Wondering just what the schedule is and what you think or know it'll be like tomorrow when it comes to him. It's the first day. The story of the first day is that it's the first day. But, of course, we've been talking about Cook so much, wondering what he'll do. What is the plan tomorrow, to put it one way?
Well, today's really the first day for players. They're reporting today. They're on the field tomorrow. They're not just reporting tomorrow, right? We're watching practice. They're getting up in the morning. They're going to meetings. So they're there today. By the fact that Tom Pelissero reported that and Ian Rappaport backed it up, that tells me they know he's there already, right? Yeah. Like, okay, they found out he's there. The question is now what happens when practice starts at 9:45 a.m. tomorrow. All eyes will be on that. So when you're talking about a schedule, so 9:15 is when we hear from Sean McDermott. I'm sure he's going to get asked, do you expect James Cook to practice? And we'll see what he says. He may say, I expect him to practice. He may say, we'll see when we get out there. I don't know what James Cook's plan is. And it's going to be a lot of intrigue, right? And then 9:45, the team is on the practice field. We'll get our answer right there. If he does practice, how much does he do? Does he sit out any drills or reps? Anything like that? I think there's just going to be a lot of watching of James Cook going on tomorrow.
All right. Do the Bills have only one punter now?
They do. Brad Robbins. I still think there's a chance they could have another one once the season starts. They've done that before where they've gone out and they've claimed someone or signed someone late in the process. Brad Robbins has to show that he can handle the job. I was actually surprised when they released Jake Camarda today because looking at the numbers, he actually has punted well in the NFL. He was top 5 in the NFL twice with the Buccaneers as a young guy in yards per punt. But I think, Bulldog, you brought it up the other day, right, which is can he place punts, though, right? Can he lay off it a little bit? Can he have those directional punts? I think that's the question with him. And let's be honest, guys, the Bills need a lot of that. They're going to be, at midfield, let's say, when they punt. They're not going to have a lot of drives stall very early. They'll be a little bit deeper. So they're going to have to they don't need a big leg. They need a guy who knows how to place it where they need to place it. And also, I think, we used to have a lot of talk about like the holder and how much it means. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but it does matter, I think, to have one guy working with Tyler Bass and Reed Ferguson instead of rotating them in throughout training camp.
Why was Robbins? So he punted 1 year for Cincinnati, and then he did not play at all last year. He might have been injured and then waived by the Bengals. So he was pretty much out of the league.
Yeah, his numbers weren't great, right? But again, numbers don't have to mean anything. It depends on what you're being asked to do at that specific position. But numbers weren't great. He was a good softball pitcher at the Micah Hyde softball event. He was the guy that pitched the guys for the home run derby. So and it's funny. I remember that day, and when he showed up, I'm like, oh, here's a new guy. Not a lot of them. He showed up. He was ready to go, and I think like from the beginning, I was impressed with just how he kind of fit right in, and he was ingratiating himself with his team, and I think those kind of things matter a little bit, right? He was right there and ready to rock and roll. So we'll see how it goes with punter. And look, I also think because of the some of the new rules that are created, we also have less punts that have happened because of the special teams, the kickoffs and things like that. Because of kickoff returns and getting more of those, and teams not starting as deep, and because of where the new touchback rule is, you had less punts last year, and you're going to have less punts this year. So, like, one of the things that came out of the owners' meetings that I distinctly remember from Darren Rizzi, who was the special teams coordinator who was in those meetings, and part of this was him telling all of us, and then I talked to him off the side about how, like, punts are way down, and they're going to be way down again this year.
And not only, that's a good point, the kickoff thing, but also the NFL has the internet now, and they know that most punts are bad ideas. They've cut back on punts for those reasons.
Right, but even if you're conservative, like we talked about a few weeks back, if you're starting at the 30 or the 35, you're that much closer to midfield, so 4th and 3 is not as cumbersome as it would be at your 28.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So that's going to be a thing. I want to swing back to the defense real quick here. Good news, right, on the 3rd-round pick, Landon Jackson. There was a pup thing while I was away, I think, but that's all cleared up. He's been activated. What is Bosa's status? Was he ever on a pup list, or is he expected to be ready to go at camp?
So there was no pup list, up until now, and then once players report, the way the pup list works is if you can't perform at training camp, you go on that list. Mm-hmm. That's in lieu of IR because you can stay on that list as long as you don't practice, and then you don't have to go on IR.
Right.
But with Joe Bosa's situation, at WGR550.com, in that article I wrote, the first thing I wrote about is how healthy is Joey Bosa. That's the number one storyline for me at that position, and that will also be answered tomorrow. Would any of us truly be stunned if we found out that Joey Bosa wasn't ready to practice tomorrow?
No.
I mean, the indications are he is, just from what the team told us, and the fact that he was doing stuff with trainers and running off to the side during minicamp, and that was, a month ago. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be ready to go and healthy. So that's something we'll pay attention to. Look, tomorrow morning, it could happen tonight too, but tomorrow morning, if there's anybody that is on the physically unable to perform list because they showed up to camp and there's some sort of issue and they can't go even for one day, we're going to find that out. It's going to be a bit of a story. It's happening around the league. Mac Hollins is on PUP for the New England Patriots. Right?
Sal,
I mean, you never know.
Sal, there is a report in the last few minutes from Lance Lysowski of the Buffalo News that Spencer Brown is on the PUP to start, and also backup center Cedric Van Pran Granger, Bulldogs guy.
That's my dude.
And that Dawson Knox is starting on the non-football injury list. So I don't know what that is.
Well, that explains why they
the tight end, right?
Tight end today. And I was wondering if something was going on at the position. It was very weird to me that they signed Matt Sokol, a tight end, today. Non-football injury list. I don't know what that means. I know. I mean, on social media, I've followed Dawson. I know that him and his wife had announced they're having a baby. There was some stuff on social media about that. Everything seemed fine. So whatever that is, I'm not really sure.
Okay.
We'll get maybe more information. And then here you go, Spencer Brown and Cedric Van Pran Granger. You hope it's nothing serious. You never know. It's the PUP. PUP means that they can't practice until they're off that list. And then the longer it goes, if you get into like remember Von Miller a couple years ago, if you get into even Trey White when he was recovering, if you get into the regular season, you get into 53. You can keep a guy on the PUP list. He has to miss 4 games, but he doesn't have to go on IR. But let's hope it doesn't get to that.
Thank you, Sal. We'll talk tomorrow.
You got it, guys.
That's our Sal Capaccio on the West Her Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet, Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Yeah, I can't add anything to this, but unfortunate news for a couple guys here to start things off. Camp tomorrow, and Sal said 9:15 for Sean McDermott. Almost definitely will be live on the station. The updates on Cook and Knox and whatever else. 803-0550 for your calls. Football is just about here. Love to talk about it with you. Yesterday at this time coming up, we were on James Cook. The report is today, the belief is today that he's in. Whether he'll, do stuff tomorrow remains to be seen, I guess. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after the update here on WGR.
Training camp underway tomorrow from St. John Fisher University. Offensive tackle Spencer Brown and center Cedric Van Pran Granger have landed on the PUP list, while tight end Dawson Knox is on the non-football injury list. There was some good news, though, from earlier today. Third-round rookie Landon Jackson has been activated off of PUP. He will not miss any time. The Bills also did announce some throwback uniforms for this season. The 90s helmet will be making its return in the final regular season game at the current Highmark Stadium, Week 18 against the Jets. And then the team will also be bringing back the standing Buffalo helmet twice this season, along with those throwback jerseys. Week 6 at Atlanta, the Falcons also will be wearing their throwbacks. And then Week 11 at home against Tampa Bay. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? And by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers for great deals on the entire Honda lineup. Visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Baseball tonight, Jays host the Yankees, and the Mets have the Angels in town, while the Bisons, they are on the road beginning a 6-game series against Columbus. All of those games start just after 7 o'clock, and you can listen to the Bisons over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Bulldog just inadvertently reminded me of a fun game. Who's the backup?
That is not a game I'm any longer. 15 years ago, I think I was really well equipped to play that game. Boy, I have a tough time now.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that well.
I'm not in the fantasy streets at all like you, but even then, I mean, what are you looking at, you know?
I don't know. I don't think I would do that well either. You asked me about the Jets. I'm on the clock in a kind of a big draft, and I'm trying to decide whether I want Dak Prescott or Justin Fields or neither at this point, and I haven't decided yet. And I appreciate that you asked me, like, what is Fields' rushing worth? You know, how much can he make up for what he doesn't do through the air?
Right, because if you assume both guys are healthy, then, you know, Prescott should throw for over 4,000 yards and probably over 30 touchdowns, but it's going to give you almost nothing on the ground. Right? Maybe a couple of sneaks or whatever, broken play at the goal line, he walks in or something. So, you know, just a couple.
Used to be a threat in that area, and then he broke his ankle.
But Fields, you know, the yardage and even touchdown passes will be way down, but he could rush for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns.
So 2 years ago, Prescott was second in the MVP to Jackson. That's the year Allen got the one first-place vote, and he finished fifth. Prescott was second. Exactly that seat, 4,000 plus passing yards, 38 touchdowns, very little rushing. He was quarterback 3 in fantasy. Fields the year before was like half that passing-wise, 2,200, 17 touchdowns, but he ran for 1,108 touchdowns on top of that, and he was quarterback 6. So you almost got the same thing.
Right.
Like if each guy has his best year to date, pretty much, they're almost equal, and they go at around the same time. Fields, I think, has a chance to be better than he's been. It's not a great team, but the Bears thing seemed so dysfunctional the whole time, even after he left last year, that I wouldn't be that surprised if he takes a step. I don't think it can be major. I think with Fields, I'm hoping it happens because this would make that team kind of interesting and him interesting again. Otherwise, this is probably it for him. But in my mind, I mean, they're going to run the ball more than any other team in the league as long as they're not terrible. Like that's, I think, what they want, the Jets. I think that's what they want to do is because it's Justin Fields and Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson is great, but that's it, right? So I think that's their hope. Mm-hmm. You just can't do it if you're getting crushed. If they are not getting crushed, if they're decent and they're good at that, then Fields, his problem isn't his arm. His problem is his speed in figuring out where to go with the ball.
Processing, right.
And if you have a passing offense with like pretty much just Garrett Wilson and he can separate it all, like if teams just can't only bracket him and I don't know, like that's what everybody's going to want to do.
Yeah, right.
Then I think that simplified could be just what Fields maybe needs. And then, I mean, he can't just throw to one guy. I think it's great for Wilson, this setup. I'm imagining. I'm drafting him a lot.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's something there.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a scenario where I don't even know what this is to say. If Prescott's healthy, he's never coming out. Right. I mean, I can't even imagine him struggling enough with the weapons they've got where he would have to come out for being that bad or something, right? So, assume health. Fields, he's a dynamite athlete. He's got the big arm. He's always been able to make these throws that are so seductive. You're like, oh, look at the talent. But, yeah, down to down, does he know where to go? And if that is still a problem, even on a bad team, I could see Aaron Glenn first year there just going like, he can't run the offense. We're not even asking him to do a lot. And we're still having there's this hesitation. His clock, it just doesn't work. And they're the third team to see that now. I could see them getting the hook out for Tyrod Taylor there. Just to, look, we're trying to build a culture, set a tone. Everyone can see. Again, this is a worst case scenario by a mile for Fields, right? But to me, it's a possibility. Everyone can see here internally that he can't do what we need him to do. And, I mean, if that happens, then you could be in real trouble there. I mean, you're talking about a second quarterback here anyway, aren't you? Or is this your starting guy?
No, this would be a starter.
Okay.
I think this is the tipping point for that.
Yeah.
In fantasy, fantasy-wise.
If you can't, I've never been a Fields guy. I would take Prescott 100 times out of 100 if I had to make this choice, even though he gives you nothing rushing.
Okay, Fields it is. Okay. Give it up for Tyrod Taylor.
Right, still hanging around.
15th year.
It feels like a lifetime ago that he was battling for the starting job here. It was 10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago, 2015. Taylor, Matt Castle, and was there someone else? EJ.
Right.
2015. Yeah, this will be his 15th season. He's been on 7 teams. Can you name all his teams?
Oh, my.
There's one I would have forgot.
Well, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cleveland, Chargers, Browns.
You already mentioned the Browns.
Oh, sorry. I want to I'm struggling. Jets, Giants.
Giants, Jets, and between the Chargers and the Giants.
Hang on. Let me see if I can get it.
Okay. He started 6 games. I don't have this in my mind for some reason.
No, I don't have it.
Houston.
Wow.
So he was on the Texans when Watson was happening? All that? Yeah. 21?
Wow. Yeah, I did not remember that at all.
He is the Jets' backup. Did I mention, actually, the game of, naming the backups? Sports, Dallas is Joe Milton, who they traded for after he beat the Bills in Week 18. Sports Illustrated, I want there to be one page for all the backups instead of having to go to everybody's Our Lads page.
Right.
Sports Illustrated has a ranking from the end of May on everybody's backup. What would your gut feeling be on where Trubisky would rank on a list like that? It's one opinion, but still. Where would you think he would rank among backups?
I would guess pretty high because he's a former high pick and took a team to the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, that's it. I think that's how you stay in the league for 10 more years, is you have pedigree. And so everyone thinks, well, it can't be the worst thing ever. Yeah, it must be pretty good. I have no faith at all that he would do anything positive for the Bills if he gets called on. I'm rooting for Mike White. I don't know if Mike White can play either. He had a couple of moments with the Jets when he first showed up on our TVs. But I feel like watching Trubisky at the end in Pittsburgh, it's like, I don't ever want to. You could tell he probably wasn't going to stay there, and I thought right away, please don't come back here. I just don't. I'd rather have somebody else, just anybody else. But I'll bet he's in the top 10.
29th.
Wow, that blows my mind.
One list. Your new BFF, Gilberto Manzano.
Right.
Ranked him 29th among backups.
Let me find Gilberto Manzano and give him a follow. I like that.
Only ahead of Davis Mills in Houston, Tyson Bagent in Chicago, and Kyle Trask in Tampa. The Chiefs' backup is. He'd rank higher than these guys.
Is it Carson Wentz?
Minshew.
Where's Carson Wentz?
I don't know.
I felt like he was somewhere that he could have played in the playoffs last year or something.
He was in Kansas City last year.
Okay. Well, that's why I had him on my mind for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Helps me feel like I'm not completely losing it. Wow.
I don't know where Wentz is. I don't know of him being anywhere.
He is nowhere currently.
Well, he's probably somewhere.
No.
Literally.
No, he's literally nowhere. He is nowhere. He has ceased to be anywhere at this time. That's our latest information. Number 1 on this list is Kirk Cousins. That makes sense.
Sure.
League's best backup. 2 is Jimmy Garoppolo.
I feel like wow. I feel like he's Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
I know he was a quarterback of a team that went to the Super Bowl. I know all that, but I feel like I'm getting nowhere if I'm counting on you for 5 games.
Yeah.
So good. Where is he?
Second on this list.
Where is he, though?
Rams.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So not nowhere.
Somewhere.
Some
would say. Mac Jones, 6th.
That's San Francisco.
Correct.
Finally, right? He finally got Kyle Shanahan. Finally got Mac Jones.
Very good. I would have said Jacksonville, but you said San Francisco. That's right.
I was about to say Jacksonville, and I went, wait a minute. There was a thing this year about how Shanahan finally got him, so I knew that. I remember that. That clicked in.
So who is going to be the backup in San Francisco now?
You mean Jacksonville?
In Jacksonville now. Sorry. Yes.
Chad Henne.
Nick Mullins.
Okay.
Almost the same thing.
Sure.
28th on the list, by the way. 1 spot ahead of Trubisky.
Capable of throwing for 300 yards, but also throwing like 6 interceptions and a half.
Oh, buddy. I mean, Justin Jefferson fantasy managers were elated to survive Nick Mullins. Remember a Saturday game in Cincinnati 2 years ago? And I think it was either Dobbs or Mullins. I think this was a Mullins game. And I don't know if Jefferson killed it in that game, but the thing on Jefferson is he's quarterback proof. Oh, it's J.J. McCarthy now, but everybody's right there with Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs and even Darnold. In the beginning, you had to draft him last year because it won't kill.
Everybody gets him off. Doesn't matter.
It won't kill his production that it's Darnold. It absolutely didn't. And so now that it's McCarthy, fantasy players are mostly unafraid. He usually goes top 3 overall. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, 803-0550. This is WGR. Many are inquiring. It's time we deliver on this. Now that camp is open, is it time for reverse AFC Power Rankings to move to their original Tuesday slot? Pretty soon on Fridays we'll be picking games.
That's right. We won't have that 6 o'clock block. Once preseason games even start.
Once preseason games start, we'll be reflecting on them and want to get right to that. So a Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
Tuesday has been.
It's a good home.
Tuesday works.
Right.
Friday works in the off season. Mix it up. I say we go back to it tonight. You got anything else you were going to do instead? We didn't ask Sal about red helmets. Probably should have. What he thinks. I didn't ask him. Didn't think to ask him. I'm fine with it.
I'll live with it. Tomorrow's another day. I mean, I don't know.
Ask him tomorrow?
Yeah,
maybe.
It's not
He'll be on tomorrow?
It's not very newsy tomorrow, especially with this news we got late in the segment with him about guys on PUP and whatever. Spencer Brown and Dawson Knox, non-football injury. He's not on PUP. Non-football injury is where he is. But Cedric Van Pran Granger, and Brown are. And Brown, obviously, is a kingpin up there.
Yeah, we have no idea what it is.
Right.
It could end up being nothing, but it is how they're starting things off officially. Knox, non-football injury, Spencer Brown, PUP list, physically unable to perform. That sounds worse when you say it, the whole thing. Physically unable to perform. PUP sounds kind of fine, funny, cute.
Yeah, PUP.
PUP list.
Yeah.
That sounds like it could be a good list to be on, the PUP list.
Physically unable to perform.
Right. Perform is even a word you don't want to.
I mean, with him, he had a back thing early in his career, didn't he? I just whenever anybody's had that in their background, any time that they miss time, like, hope he's okay.
Yes. The Bisons are in Columbus to start the week.
Well, good for them.
They are 36-58. That is pretty bad. The Blue Jays are rolling. The farm team is not.
Not so good.
Rolling backwards. Columbus, when I worked in Rochester doing play-by-play for the Red Wings, I went to one series there. The Columbus Clippers at the time. If it's not still, might still be, but they're not the Yankees anymore. And that team was like Rivera, Posada, Pettit. They weren't all there the one time I was there, but like they were all Jeter.
They all took their turns there, yeah.
Yeah. I did a sit down with Derek Jeter in Rochester when they were up. And I had a moment in Columbus that I'll never forget. So I didn't do this often, but they had me helping out with batting practice. So I'm on the third baseline with a glove.
Oh, wow.
And the guy's hitting, whoever it was, somebody's hitting balls to the infielders, and they're bouncing them into me, right? And I would just toss the ball to the hitter. And it was artificial turf. One throw came in short, and guys are hitting in the cage. Mm-hmm. And I'm over here, behind the third baseline doing this other thing, helping with infield is what I'm actually doing, not batting practice. And I went across the third base line out onto the field to grab the loose ball. And somehow, immediately, everybody saw me do it, and everybody screamed.
Like, you're not a player, you're not allowed out here.
No, they didn't want me to get hit.
Oh, okay.
So, everybody screamed at me, back up! Like I just walked into a busy street.
Okay.
Which is kind of what it could have been, right? So that sort of freaked me out. Like, oh yeah, of course.
Right.
That ball is not that important. We got others, and I'll get it. I'll get it.
Right.
Somebody comes out of the cage, somebody else goes, I'll get it. But I wasn't thinking that way. And I crossed that line like a moonlight grab, just crossing the foul line onto the field, and
you're in peril all of a sudden. There it is.
It was just amazing how so many people noticed it.
Yeah, right.
One or two steps out onto the field.
Right.
So, thank you to them belatedly for the heads up. 30 years ago.
You would have been fine.
I mean, what are the odds, right? Somebody actually hits the ball hard right at me, and I'm not looking.
Sure,
could have been
that
bad.
could be real trouble.
Could have been it.
Yeah.
So they were right to get my attention. Reverse AFC Power Rankings after sports. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Injury news as the Bills hit the practice field tomorrow morning to get training camp underway. Tackle Spencer Brown and center Cedric Van Pran Granger have landed on the PUP list, while tight end Dawson Knox is on the non-football injury list. But some good news, third-round rookie Landon Jackson has been activated off of PUP. He will not miss any time. We also got some uniform announcements from the Bills today. The 90s red helmet is going to make its return in the final regular season game at the current Highmark Stadium, Week 18 against the Jets. And the Bills, they are also bringing back another throwback. The standing Buffalo helmet will be worn twice this season, along with the throwback jerseys. Week 6 at Atlanta will also be wearing their throwbacks, and Week 11 at home against Tampa Bay. And coverage of Bills training camp from St. John Fisher University is brought to you by Fiegel Car and Joyce, your border attorneys. By Outlet Liquor, when you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys, and driven by your Upstate Honda dealers. For great deals on the entire Honda lineup, visit your Upstate Honda dealer today. Some baseball tonight. Jays host the Yankees, and the Mets have the Angels in town, while the Bisons, they are on the road versus Columbus. All of those games will get started just after 7 o'clock, and the Bisons, you can listen to them over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I think I can safely say this music means only one thing. Because you don't hear it anywhere else.
Are we sure about that?
I made a special effort to dig deeper than the usual cliche, if you will, NFL Films tracks, and found a couple of old records that are not only songs that I know I've heard on some of those older shows. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going with. We try a little harder. That's all it is. We try a little harder. Right. Reverse AFC Power Rankings powered by Empire Electric. Your residential neighborhood electrician. Visit EmpireElectricians.com. Does everybody know how this works?
I've been away for a little while. Did this happen at all while I was gone?
No, it's been 19 days.
Wow.
And the time before that was similar, wasn't it? Wasn't there like a 2 or 3 week gap before that?
I don't know. You're the one with the sheets with the dates on them.
So I should know.
Well, you don't need to know, but you could look, I guess. I'm naked over here. I got nothing other than my memory, and that's problematic.
Hang on, I'm writing. I could have already done this, right? Before that, Bulldog, to satisfy you.
Oh, no. He's digging through
June 13th.
You sure you have this stuff written on the right side of the paper and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. June 13th. So this will be, we've done one in about 5 weeks.
Wow.
Let's go. I mean, it breaks over. What would President Bartlett say?
Well,
breaks
we had
over.
moved it to Fridays, and you missed a Friday, and then I was gone. So there's a couple of weeks right there.
I love to miss a Friday.
Oh, who doesn't?
You know?
It's the best.
All right. Do you have the list of teams so no confusion?
I'm aware of the teams that we are ranking. Yes.
16.
I'm going to say Tennessee. You know, not really at all, because Will Levis is out for the year getting shoulder surgery now, although the timing on that is, you know, it's plausible. They thought it would heal, but now, you know, he needs help. Okay. But however bullish you want to get about Cam Ward, he was not someone who you know, if there were better any kind of competition for the first overall pick, maybe he wouldn't have been it like even a year ago. So kind of an underwhelming quarterback class, but need meets, you know, convenience, and here he is. He's the 1 overall pick. I don't know, man. I don't know that they got a lot going on there at all, Tennessee.
One of their own executives yesterday or today said, we don't have a lot of star power. Uniforms are so bad, too.
I think they have the worst. Everything about them, their look, the logos, the feel, the helmets, it looks so 1980s video game graphics. It's horrible.
Not a real team. Like
right?
it wouldn't
yeah,
have been on a game where they did not have the licensing, did not have the rights to the real teams.
Right.
I mean, USFL jerseys were better than their jerseys. The Boston Breakers had a better look than the Titans.
Their uniforms, there's a combination out there that's as bad, if not worse, than the Bills' Drew Bledsoe era white road uniform with the blue shoulders. Like, the Titans choose to look like that year over year in perpetuity. They're awful. They should be first. Every week in this exercise until they do something about their uniforms.
Well then.
And pivoting to the Houston Oilers uniforms. No.
Which are great.
Not okay. That's not your gear. Get it off. You stole the team from the city that wore those uniforms that a lot of us grew up loving. You moved away. First to Memphis, but then to eventually Nashville, and now you're no. Just get out of here.
Stop it.
Yeah.
I'm in. Sure. Tennessee works. 15. I got to go Cleveland here. Cleveland is the team with the worst odds in the league, offensively, if not team total. There might be New Orleans or somebody might have a worse team total. I don't know though. My guest from Cleveland last week, Spencer German, I was sort of primed to talk up the Browns a little bit. I do like to do that. And I started down that road. He's like, oh, that's interesting. I can see it. I do the same thing. And then we started looking at the schedule and talking about that. It's awful. Like, they're going to be 1-6 or something, I think.
Didn't while I was away, didn't Tyler have a piece about, like, their roster's not that bad?
This week,
yeah,
maybe?
I remember seeing something about that, and okay.
Second worst point differential in the NFL last year to Carolina. Cleveland for me, 15.
No argument.
14.
Jets. Colts.
Are you asking or telling?
I'm suggesting.
You're throwing out
guess,
ideas? You do know the teams.
I'm trying to find who I want to say. So I said Jets, ? Colts, ? I'm going to say Colts.
I'll say Jets.
I'll go Jets.
It worked.
It definitely worked.
There really was no planning there.
I'm a little bit not optimistic, that's too strong. I'm glad that Richardson is healthy.
Sure.
You know, like, it seemed at first like maybe they would just shut him down again.
Yeah.
Like what happened with Levis.
Right.
Like, yes, you're going to need a second surgery.
That's what it sounded like a few weeks ago, I think, or a month ago. Yeah.
Which I think it turns out is because the Colts wanted to send that kind of message, which they could have said, you can't get Jim Harbaugh to even acknowledge Najee Harris having an eye injury from a fireworks explosion even. Like, teams tend to play those things down.
Mm-hmm.
And with Richardson, their guy was just like,
oh, man, he's screwed.
It sounded bad. And then Richardson, I think because of that, the next day was like, I think I'll be fine. And he's fine, he says. We don't know yet, but...
He's fine. They hate him, I think, but he's fine. So, I mean, good luck.
Colts at 13 or someone else?
Colts at 13 for me.
Yeah, I'm good there.
12.
New England or the Raiders. Those are my two that are, to me, those two teams I feel like are next. I'm sorry, maybe I'm doing this wrong. I'm rusty. It's been a while. It shouldn't be like, it's not multiple choice. Patriots.
Raiders.
I'll go Patriots here.
Oh, it almost worked again? Or maybe that is what you wanted that time.
No, I swung it around this time. I wanted the Raiders.
Swung it around.
Yes.
Suddenly I'm in The Princess Bride with Bulldog.
All right, so who's
the show ever sounded older?
Who's in
That's a reference. Yeah. You got to know The Princess Bride.
Yeah, people know Princess
Good.
Bride.
People do. I don't.
Wallace Shawn.
I don't, but people do.
You don't?
I don't.
The scene where he's trying to have the guy eat the poison.
Never watched it. There's magic in it. I don't choose to watch anything with magic in it. I will just, I gotta go.
Such a charming movie. You'll have one Saturday.
Are there like talking animals too? Like I just can't. I have no idea.
No, that's the never-ending story.
Okay, sure.
That you don't have to watch.
Same movie to me. I don't even care.
The Princess Bride is fun and funny.
I've heard that.
It's not about magic, mostly. Mandy Patinkin, Andre the Giant, Wallace Shawn. That's a pretty good start for a movie, for a cast. I can never say the name of it. I never know how to pronounce the name of the star.
You almost had me until mostly.
Carrie
Not
Elwes.
about magic mostly.
Is that how you say
Billy
his
Crystal's
name?
in it too.
Billy Crystal, right? I knew that.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to get on this. Preseason's a few weeks away. The weekends are still free.
There's no way he's watching The Princess Bride.
No.
He's had 60 years.
Yeah.
Never happening. I just started quarterback.
Quarterback.
Time.
Is that good again?
I don't know. It's making me like Joe Burrow. Which
Really?
yeah,
Wow. All right, I have thoughts on that.
yeah, because I wanna hit.
Doesn't
him
everybody like Joe Burrow?
I mostly have wanted to hit Joe Burrow in the face with a shovel since he lit a cigar in the LSU locker room. I just never liked his.
Didn't like that.
Hey,
His face?
you were. He has the James Spader, Pretty in Pink, villain character face. Just you want to punch him.
Robert California.
Sure, yeah. But he is
Just happy when I can ever get a reference.
He's pretty likable. I had it on the one night. My wife was in there doing something in the living room while I'm watching it, and 20 minutes of Joe Burrow. She's like, "This Joe Burrow is maybe pretty cool."
She's into him,
and I'm like, I said it's complicated. I don't like him, but yes, he's coming off well here for sure.
I get in here on Tuesdays, and I'm just looking to get any pop culture or from the last 50 years pop culture reference in that I can, because I go on that ADP chasing with guys who are much younger than me, and every week Davis Maddock with the Pokemon references, and I don't who's the Charmander of the page? I don't know if Kendrick Bourne is the Charmander of Jalen Polks. I don't know. I mean, that's literally what we get every week. It seems really smart, but I don't know what these movies are they're talking about or actors.
Right. And I'm over here with John Hughes movies from the 80s.
That's fine.
For Joe Burrow. I mean, I don't know. Does anybody even know what I'm talking about?
I do. Right. That's at least I do.
Right, well, you
know what the Princess Bride is. Actually, you didn't.
I do know what it is, and I know its place in pop culture. I just don't care.
Okay, 11.
Who just went off the board? Because I'm all tangled up over here.
New England went. The Raiders are still up.
Then the Raiders are next.
Fine. 10.
Miami.
Steelers. I don't really mean it, but I said it.
Yeah, I think I kind of hate the Miami roster this year. I'll go with Miami.
9.
I'll get to the Steelers with you here, okay. Unless you still don't mean it.
No, I'm okay. I mean, they're always in the middle. Why wouldn't they belong in the middle on a list? 8.
Jaguars.
I
say Jacksonville. Yeah. Okay.
7.
Chargers.
Cincinnati. I mean,
yeah.
Cut it out.
Hendrickson, still the Stewart stuff.
It's delicious for fantasy. If their defense is that bad again and those guys stay healthy, I mean, Burrow will have the same year, right?
Probably.
He had MVP stats. Didn't win because they didn't win. I'll say Bengals. You're on the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
I'll go Chargers here.
6.
Bengals.
Okay. 5.
Texans.
Houston. Yeah, 5. Not the 4th choice at DraftKings to win the 1 seed in the AFC. In fact, the 9th. But still the shortest odds of any AFC South team. Wow. 4. Denver is 4th on that list. And they are 4th on this list.
Of the teams left, Denver has to be next.
3. Chiefs.
I'm bracing for 5,200 yards and 48 touchdowns from Mahomes this year. Rice, that's a big wrinkle, but the left tackle, first day of practice, he's there. The kid from Ohio State,
Josh Simmons.
That that's a big thing if like that goes smoothly this summer. Could have been the best left tackle in the draft if not for the injury. So, man, if he can play right away, that is a massive development for them. But whatever, I'm outvoted, but I'm feeling a Chiefs year.
I'm having a tough time with that. Like I'm back and forth. I said this a lot last week. Alex Gold was on. I mean, there's a part of me, you have to respect the dominance. And why shouldn't it continue? Like, is there any good reason why it shouldn't continue? What, the fact that Kelsey's older? Maybe, but like, is there... There's not a big loss there. There are a couple decent ones. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it should be enough to bring them back to the pack very much. And we've had this narrative for years, like, oh, you want to bet against them in the playoffs? Ha ha ha. Good luck. And then they just win, and you feel like an idiot. So predicting their downfall does feel kind of chumpy to do. I mean, but you are going to be right someday. I did this with New England for a decade.
NFL, right.
And that was bad. Like, that was wrong. It never really happened.
Yeah.
So
I'm sort of feeling a Mahomes... I mean, I know this isn't pro wrestling, all right, but I just feel a Mahomes year here. They've been down really offensively since Hill left. It's not been but Rice 4 games maybe, right? So he gets back by October. I just see a year coming where Mahomes is like a supervillain. Like, okay, Lamar, okay, Josh, you guys had your fun. Me and Andy Reid are just going to go to town on all of you this year. I don't know. I feel like he could have a massive year. Like, of course he's the MVP again because he's Patrick Mahomes.
They play in Brazil, then they play Philadelphia. 2 weeks later, the Ravens. 2 weeks later, Detroit. Washington, 2 weeks later, Buffalo.
And no one will know how to kick field goals against them, and they will win all those games.
They'll be 9-0,
right.
8-0.
Right.
2. Bills for me, 2.
I mean, after the Spencer Brown news today.
Hey.
I don't want to alarm anyone. He's on PUP to start the year. We don't know, or start camp. We don't know why that is, but that happened today.
Something's wrong.
Yeah. Fine.
Baltimore won.
When are they going to win something?
Maybe never.
Stupid Ravens.
Stupid Ravens.
Did you see this? Now I just refreshed and I lost it. Did you see the Diana Rossini stuff? She talked to Hendrickson.
Did not.
2 offers in the last 24 hours that did not meet any of the, I think he's made it known he wants more guaranteed money than just in year 1. And 2 offers in the last 24 hours. Neither of them contained any of that. Like, what are we doing? What are you doing? I mean, you're just, let me put this in front of you, even though it doesn't have exactly, it completely does not have the thing we know you want. Here, take a look. Thanks. No.
Yeah, I mean, to hit the road.
Right.
And announce that you've hit the road is not a great sign.
Right. He's been in town. I think they just left because he didn't. The way she writes it here, like he didn't want to be, standing there holding in, hearing the whistles blowing, and just being, a distraction to everybody else. So it's like, let's just get out of here.
You know who else is on the PUP list today is Darren Waller. In Miami. So when was that? 3 weeks ago? Suddenly Miami had traded Jonnu Smith, and what did they do about tight end? They signed Darren Waller out of retirement. Like, okay, well, I don't know. He looks like he's in shape. It wasn't that long ago. Maybe he's something. So, you sprinkle in some Darren Waller on your teams. Maybe you needed that third tight end. Maybe you had Tua. You just, I guess this is what I should do. I mean, he's had a good career, and he's on the PUP list. So I don't know if there was a setback or just needed a little bit more time to get there, but not great for those bets.
Right.
Not really great.
Never a good sign. Let me start getting into football.
What you want?
I tore a bicep.
What you want
no
is
idea what he did.
The first day of camp, you want the highlights. Oh, Darren Waller's back. Look at this guy sprinting down the field at 240 pounds.
Now you have to use 2-year-old highlights like the ESPN show did, talking about Prescott hitting Pickens in the first practice when they hadn't even practiced yet. And it was Brandon Cooks. Did you catch any of that today?
No. I know what you mean, though, when you say that. I didn't get what that was. Will Graves from Pittsburgh joined us talking Steelers. We'll have that for you next here on WGR.